Top five.
Yeah, girl. You ready to do this? You ready to count this thing down? We're doing the top five, heard? Yeah, let's set it off with 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ranked Top 5 List of Stuff That Don't Matter. I'm your host, Tuong La, and we have reunited a royal family, a royal crew, if you will. So long it's been since they have put on their crowns and waved their scepters and belittled peasants. No, they still do that. They just don't do it on air.
Every day.
But today they will belittle you peasants, the listeners. We have Big Dick Godelie? Big Dick Godelie. I was
That's
so
my royal
excited to talk to you. Justin Godelie,
Yeah.
everyone.
Hi. Hello, it's Big Dick Godelie here. It's my name. It's my name in my native language.
Prove
He
it.
gurgles a bit because it's so big.
That's right.
Put it on the table.
Oh, no.
Look,
no.
hey,
You know
guys,
what?
We're 3 minutes in. We're 3 minutes in. We're
3
making a
minutes
dick
in?
gargling joke. I like
Right.
that. That's good.
It's so funny. I'm so polite to my other guests that I have on. It's usually pretty dick free for all of my other guests. But the people have been clamoring. They've been clamoring. They need to hear from the Godelies. Well, you know what? I'll let Justin go ahead.
Yeah, I am not the
Next
only.
guest.
I am not the only Godelie here. My wife Shannon Godelie.
Hello.
Yeah.
Happy to be here, bringing the dick jokes 3 minutes in. So that's awesome. Very pumped to be here. And across the table from me, quite literally, we have, I will say, I guess, the princely Dan Foerster.
Oh, the prince.
Thank you.
He has
I
not
thought I was going to
yet
get
become
introduced
king.
as like a court jester or something.
In time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're being
Or-
friendly right now. So
Dan,
Yeah.
or like the town drunk or something, you know.
Yeah.
that guy. Dan, so good to hear from you and see that, you know, I can't even tell you and Shannon apart these days because you do have the same haircut. It's
Pretty
insane.
much, yeah. I think it's
Yeah,
like
you-
a year. I think a year.
That's
We're
a
both
year?
Insanely adorable.
Yeah, I
though.
think so.
It's true.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
it's true.
Well, if it looks good on Shannon, it looks good on everyone else. Yeah. Dan, you're not alone today. You're not alone. You have some peasants of your own in the background here. I see you have your
Yeah.
Hulk in the background. You have a teddy bear.
Yeah.
I don't know what those things are on the left-hand side of the screen next to Hulk. I can't tell.
Oh, that is a collection of like yellow rubber ducks from China.
Cool.
Oh, okay.
Really popular in Hong Kong. Yeah.
The whole animal kingdom is here, here to
right.
support you, guys. I'm excited to have you here today because we are here to rank some very important shit.
That's well. Look, we don't come on the show unless we're ranking important shit.
Correct.
Yeah,
I refuse.
yeah. I'm trying to think. Wizards. We've ranked wizards.
Cheap beer, budget beer.
Budget beers.
Ooh,
Got some flack over that one.
Yeah, we did. Dragons.
Dragons. Seasons? Did we do seasons together?
Shannon was part of seasons, I think.
Shannon, yeah.
I think
And then we did-
I did winter.
We did winter sports or something.
No, that was just
Nope.
part of winter. That
Yeah,
was part of
yeah.
winter.
Can you imagine ranking top 5 winter sports?
I could do that. Unless they have to be
Tobogganing.
fictional. They have to boozing.
All fictional, yeah.
Okay, so today we are talking about a topic that kind of naturally came when I sent a GIF to this group saying I want to do a podcast, and then all of a sudden a spark came, and I'm like, holy shit, top 5 kings. How have we not done this before?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is insane. Now I'm just like, there's a whole royal thing. We can do top 5 queens, and that's it. Maybe princesses.
Maybe princesses. You can do princesses,
I guess you can do
definitely.
princesses. Yeah.
We'll save
But
it for
then-
a future cast, though.
But no, like top 5 court jesters. I'm not sure because Dan would already win. So.
1 to 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
Today we're talking about top 5 kings, and let's go right into the ground rules of today. Let's get right into it because we gotta make a royal decree of what we're doing today. So we don't know. I guess the question is, when I pitched this originally to you guys, I was like top 5 fictional kings, and then we're all like, why don't we just say top 5 kings, like just in general, right?
Yeah. I think fiction or non-fictional kings, because like you could, I don't know.
Yeah, Tuong, you went straight into a spoiler saying, well, I'm going to do all fictional, but I don't know. I'm interested to see whether you've changed your mind since that comment.
Oh, no.
And if, okay.
Love it.
No. I don't believe in any kings they're real. Dan, how about you? Like, is there any specific ground rules that you want to lay out for the people?
Nothing really comes to mind, to be honest. Pretty open here.
What makes a king?
Fictional or non-fictional?
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this category plays out, because
Yeah, are we including like emperors, for instance, or is it like?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
I would personally leave it up to the person's argument.
Sure.
Yeah, like I mean, I think. Now,
Do
correct
they
me if
need to
I'm
have-
wrong.
Yeah, go ahead.
But is the term like emperor it's kind of just regional for king, right? Like it's essentially the same thing. You're either a monarchy or you've like taken power. Like it's kind of the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think
It's lineage based usually, so which is often the king thing. So
I would
Dan
prefer to know that they do have like title of king. I would prefer it, but I'm open to someone bringing up something else like an emperor. I'd want them to make pitch their case, I guess.
okay.
Yeah, I'm Googling, is an emperor a king?
While you're doing that, Tuong, and I didn't have an opinion one way or another, but are we going for like it's top 5 kings now? Does that mean that the kings have to be good
Oh, good question.
morally good? I guess is the way I'm putting that. I don't think so.
No.
Personally,
I think the most interesting kings are what I'm like gravitating towards, I guess.
Okay.
Whether they're a good king or like a really shitty king, like I don't care about that, I guess. It will be interesting to see like fictional kings versus real kings like duke it out, I guess. I don't know how that's gonna go down, but
yeah, I think it'll be how much you can kind of sell the impact that person had in the fictional world or the interesting level in the real world. Maybe, I don't know. It will be interesting to kind of battle if there's like a head to head between the two where we're trying to eliminate one from contention. But
right.
I think we cross that bridge when we come to it. I don't think we can make a call right now.
I'm just looking at this emperor versus kings thing. It's a little gray, to be honest, but it does sound like, and I'm sure people are going to scream at me from home, but just from a quick Google scan, it looks like emperors are like a bit higher than a king, like above a king. Like it sounds like emperors rule like an entire empire, whereas like kings and queens rule smaller kingdoms within that empire. That's what I'm getting from this
Interesting.
like summary over here, but I don't know for sure. I guess we should nip this in the bud now, because if we have emperors on this list, I might add a few, I guess. Dan?
Yeah, I think I'd prefer to maybe exclude the emperors then, if they control like a greater, collection of kingdoms or something.
Yeah.
You guys are already getting into nitty gritty that I'm ready to throw a wrench into. So I feel like every time I come on this podcast, Tuong hates me.
Yes. But I like it. Actually, Shannon said something the other day, because I spoiled that I was going to just do fictional kings, and she told me to save it for the cast. And I just wanted to mention, Shannon, that I feel like I now know what it's like to be like impregnated, I guess, because it was just such a like, oh my God, this feeling of just, I got served. it felt like it was my own baby being planted right back into me, and I was just so proud of you. So thank you, Shannon.
Just wait for the delivery, my man. You will love it.
It's gonna get messy for sure. This whole episode's gonna be a bloodbath, literally. So let's just get right into it, I guess. If we find some kings that we're like, maybe we just let that person try to explain themselves out of it, or let them try to explain what a king is, I guess. All right. Just like every episode of Ranked, we're going to go around 3 times, nominating 3 nominations each, making a master list of 12 and whittling that down to a top 5 kingly list. Top 5 kingly list. So my first one, and all of them, fictional. So here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. I want to go. Maybe this one's pretty topical right now. I think this one's pretty topical. I want to, and I don't want to nominate it just because it seems like a hot button like nomination of like what is a king. This like it just felt like this character rose to great status, not just because of the movie they were in, but because of the person that portrayed them. But then, like, upon further readings of this character in their own comic books, I was like, holy shit, this character is amazing. Like, really great character, which is named the Black Panther, King T'Challa.
Very good.
Yes.
I like that.
Shannon, do you know who this king is?
Yeah, he was my number one nom as well.
No, you're kidding.
So sweet.
Well, Shannon, as someone who always comes in and writes a lot of notes for their nominations, what did you write about King T'Challa?
Yeah, I actually have a BuzzFeed list.
Do you actually?
I do.
Okay, let's hear it.
Number one, he encouraged M'Baku to yield rather than die during the challenge, which put him above other like kings who would fight to the death type of thing. He wasn't afraid to be vulnerable, telling his dad and whatnot that he wasn't ready to be king. He didn't let the kingly status go to his head. Like with his sister, he's telling her like she's going, my king, and he's like, stop it. He listened to the wise women in his life, which any woman will say is a very powerful move by Amanda. Fucking listen.
Yep.
We should all do that, every man.
When T'Challa threw himself over a grenade, that's pretty baller. Refused to let Agent Ross die, even though it meant bringing him into their world. But yeah, there's a very lengthy BuzzFeed list that I was just going to rattle off as all of my points. There's some really cool shit in there. Yep. Yeah,
I think thank you for pulling up that BuzzFeed, because that's way more than I did. I just wrote King T'Challa on this list. I think like throughout the Marvel cinematic incarnation of King T'Challa, and as well as the comic books, there's kind of like sometimes he's king, sometimes he's not king. You know, the Black Panther kind of shifts a little bit. And for King T'Challa specifically, a lot of his story is how to be a good king. And I think that's a fascinating thing, because there's a line that I'm going to paraphrase in the movie, which is like, he's a good man, and good men have like a hard time to be good kings, because you can sometimes essentially make the wrong choice because of how good you want to be. And King T'Challa eventually discovers like, no, but I want to try to be good. And there's consequences for that. But ultimately, it makes him a better ruler, I guess, of Wakanda. And he even does in the movie, he's just like, you know what? We have all this sick ass technology that we've kept hidden forever. Let's share it with the entire world, because I want to be a king to everyone, essentially, or just be like, you know, giving to everyone. And I think that's a pretty cool quality in a king. Dan, thoughts? Justin?
I love the nomination of King T'Challa. I think like he has that symbol, especially in the movies, and I'm not very familiar with any iteration in the comics. But it's just as far as the movie, he's just such a noble guy and wants to do the right thing. He may not always make the right decision, but he does it with the like kind of the best intentions. He wants to be a good king by being a good person. So I think it's a fantastic nomination. Good job, Shannon. I mean, Tom.
And Dan, yourself, any thoughts on King T'Challa before we move on?
Yeah, he was on my list too. I think without the character even really saying anything, he just kind of like emits like a kingly presence about him. I really like the moment in Civil War near the end there where he's like chatting with Zemo as well. I thought there was a very kind of kind and wise, scene between the two of them. Yeah, great nom. Like, absolutely.
Yeah, when he walks through that portal in Endgame, and it's like him and a couple followers, and it's just like this big moment where you're like, holy shit, that's the Black Panther. There's the king, and it's a really powerful time. Justin, what do you got?
Yeah. Look, you've got to know what's coming here from me. If you know me as a person, as a human being, what my interests are, you know what my first nomination is going to be, and it's, of course, King Aragorn from The Lord of the Rings. Because, of course,
that is the least surprising thing ever. I was this close to nominating it myself, and I'm like, I can't do that. Just like with wizards, I couldn't say Gandalf. Just like dragons, I couldn't say Smaug.
You're a good man. I appreciate it. That means a lot to me.
Same with Aragorn. Very good man. You want to tell us your notes on him?
Well, actually, I don't have a lot of written down notes because I have too many in my head. But he's the last king, not the last. He's the lost king of the regions of Gondor and Arnor and Lord of the Rings mythology. But the reason I wanted to nominate him is that he is very similar to King T'Challa. He is kind of the king the type of person that you would want to be a leader. You would want to follow him. He inspires. He's resolute and powerful, but he's also caring and kind, and he finds a way to help even, either great nations overcome adversity or help like 4 little hobbits just get from one place to another. He sees the value in all things, and I think that's a wonderful kingly trait, to not be kind of focused on too big of the too much of the big picture, but focus on the little battles and the little successes that can kind of make everything a little bit better. Yeah, so that's my nomination.
Yeah, and like just seeing him like from being Strider in the first movie to becoming king is like a really cool arc throughout the entire trilogy, and it's very satisfying when he finally accepts that he will be king, and he grabs that sword, for example, and then leads the undead. It's like it's a really cool arc he goes through. It's
such an interesting arc, and it's such a different arc really than the one that's in the books. Because in the books he knows that that's his destiny, and he's waiting for the right time to kind of seize it. So, and it works in both respects. I really like he's biding his time and waiting for the right chance, but I also really like the movie version where he's this kind of. He doesn't know if he really wants to do it, and he's kind of doubtful if he has the capabilities to do it, but then he rises to the occasion and is successful and pulls it off and is a great leader. And he's a king regardless of when he's actually crowned or not, because he is actually the king leading up to it. He's just actually crowned the king, right? So
right. Great nomination. I always think of the moment where he's like, it makes me cry thinking about it, tear up when the hobbits are like bowing down to him, and he's just like, hobbits, you bow to no one, but much better delivered, and he doesn't say hobbits. So it's a great moment, because even though he has a really high status, he recognizes he doesn't really care about that, to be honest with you.
No, he recognizes the importance of everybody's contribution in that tale, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shannon, what BuzzFeed do you have pulled up?
So this is where I'm going to throw a little bit of a wrench into things, but my next nomination, because I'm saying next because there goes number 1, but my first nom of the night is Elvis Presley.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's so good.
Here we go.
God. Good.
I was expecting wrenches for tonight. Right off the top, the King of Rock.
The King of Rock and Roll, and undeniably the king. I mean, throughout his time as the King of Rock and Roll, I mean, no one performed like him, no one drew the audiences that he did, no one had like the raw sex appeal and swoon that this guy did. He some of his accolades, they also deemed him Mr. Billboard. He had the most charted hits of any era preceding him and up until him. Most top 40 hits, most platinum hits, most gold, most two-sided hits of all time.
Whoa.
And then because of Elvis, we get some of these amazing quotes. This one from someone named John Lennon. Before Elvis, there was nothing. Nothing really affected me until I heard Elvis. If there hadn't been an Elvis, there wouldn't have been the Beatles. something to chew on there.
Strong words.
Okay.
From Bob Dylan. When I first heard Elvis's voice, I just knew that I wasn't going to work for anybody and nobody was going to be my boss. Hearing him for the first time was like busting out of jail. And
Whoa.
finally, I think this one kind of says it all. From Bruce Springsteen, there have been a lot of tough guys, there have been a lot of pretenders, and there have been a lot of contenders, but there is only one king.
Ooh, that's
Wow.
solid.
Mic drop.
That's solid.
Wow.
Wow.
You know, that's a wrench of a nomination, but you sold it. Really,
you.
I don't know. I think it's great.
Shannon, for someone who doesn't come prepared, you came pretty prepared today, I feel.
This is literally the most research I've ever done for anything in my life, including parenting.
No, I will definitely accept this nomination. I think it's really great. All right, Dan, how are you going to follow up Elvis?
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one. I just want to say that with all of my nominations, I had some other parameters. Like, I'm not expecting everyone to have these as well, but my own like parameters for like who goes on my list. There's like 3 qualities I think overall I was like looking for: strength, courage, and cooperation as a leader, as a king. Yeah. And with that being said, my first nomination is Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Oh, I like it.
Oh my God!
Let me get into this.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear
Oh, it
it.
makes me so happy.
Okay, so
I was not anticipating this.
we all know Godzilla. I mean, he's been around for a really long time. There's been different like versions of Godzilla throughout the years. So I tried to get some stats from like the most recent like Godzilla, like King of the Monsters movie. So speaking of strength, so first of all, he's 119.8 meters tall, and
He's a
he
big
weighs
boy.
99,634 tons. So he's a
Who
big
figured that out?
Yeah, who's making
Who's
these
doing
stats
that?
up?
It was me. I had to actually like. So he's got the strength, guys. We don't have to worry about the strength. He could literally squash all these other nominations tonight. I'm pretty certain. I'm hoping someone will challenge me on it.
Maybe.
Again, in terms of his strength, he's got a lot of different powers. So he's got the atomic breath that we've all seen before, where like the the plates on his back all sparkle, and he like breathes out the fire. He's got another power pretty similar to that called nuclear pulse, where he'll like throw the enemy onto his plates on his back and like bounce them off of the plates using this like nuclear pulse. Pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yep.
Very strong, of course, with all that height and weight. Extremely durable. He can actually withstand a 15 megaton bomb. And again, if anyone else has a nomination that can also withstand a 15 megaton bomb, I'd love to hear it.
I'm sure Aragorn could.
I mean, have you seen Aragorn's like hair? Like, come on.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Now, in terms of cooperation, he actually does have a power connected to that called symbiosis. So in the movie, he actually is able to communicate with another monster named Mothra, and they can communicate over like great distances. And this symbiosis actually goes to another level where has everyone seen the movie? Would I be spoiling anything is anyone worried about spoilers?
Which movie? Which Godzilla? Because there's a lot of them.
The latest one.
Okay, I've not seen it, but I'm okay with spoilers.
Okay, cool. So Mothra ends up sacrificing herself, but then as she sacrifices herself, she turns into this kind of like stardust type thing, and he absorbs her strength and becomes even more powerful, becoming a form called Burning Godzilla, or also known as Fire Godzilla, making him even stronger, even faster, to the point where his body can even blast out even more intense heat that can disintegrate enemies. It's pretty amazing.
It's a pretty
So, I mean,
awesome
we gotta-
scene.
It is.
Yeah.
So he's got strength, he's got cooperation, he's got the courage to keep fighting even when things are looking rough as well. And I also
Does he
think,
have
like, a
emotions
really-
in that movie? Does he show any sadness or just pure anger all the time, smashing things?
No, I think there's like a quiet understanding about and like any good king as well, I feel like he shows up, he does his thing when he's needed, when like a giant monster from another world's attacking. He rises up out of the oceans. He's here, he takes care of this threat that he knows his people can't take care of. But when there's not a situation like that, he just backs the fuck away, and then he goes back under the water, and he lets the people govern themselves. You know, he's like, yeah, you're doing an okay job. Just keep doing what you're doing. You call me when you need me, kind of.
Is that canonical? Like, is that Godzilla always been like, I'm only gonna come out to fight like evil stuff or like world threats?
I'm pretty sure he's just showed up just to destroy stuff before. In my movie, the one I saw, he was a good guy.
In your movie. I can't. So Mothra, I can't get over how close that is to Martha. So Godzilla is connected to the DC universe, is what you're saying.
That's exactly what I just said. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I heard.
That's how he connects to Batman and Superman. He goes, Mothra. All right. Okay.
Martha?
No, I said Mothra. All right. Wow. That is I was expecting a couple wrenches in tonight's, and for some reason I expect like a sports team to come up or like some sort of random thing.
I was not expecting Dan to throw a wrench right away, honestly. Like, that surprises me. It was great.
I was worried someone else was going to say this one. That's why I jumped right to it.
How are we gonna go for like okay, let's rate Godzilla versus this real king that existed in the world?
Tell you what, I think Godzilla stands a good chance.
Yeah. Did that real king withstand an atomic bomb? I don't think so.
Yeah, apples to apples, let me tell you.
Okay, I'm gonna go. We're gonna go to round 2 over here, and now I'm starting to feel like, should I do something crazy? But there's too many kings. There's too many kings out there, and I feel like there's some kings that just have to be said. There just some that have to be said, and I'll do a little bit of a pivot here, and maybe say a king that's kind of a dick, and not a good king, but a fascinating king, a king that you cannot stop watching when the show is good. And that show is Game of Thrones. That king is King Joffrey Baratheon. And Dan's like, no, I hate that king. He's the worst. And he is. He's the worst. He is a little child that is sitting on the throne. But he is, to me, he was one of the most fascinating parts, like things to watch in that show, because of all the bad decisions he's made. And it's almost like what happens when a twisted individual, young kid, who's pretty fucked up, have control over an entire kingdom, and what repercussions come from that. And I think that's the fascinating part about him. Now, Justin and Shannon, you never watched Game of Thrones, did you?
Nope.
All right, Dan, let's hear the squeamish.
I know a little, like a little bit about like King Joffrey, like I know he's kind of a shitty head, like shithead, and
Shitty head.
shitty head.
He is a shitty head.
He's got a shitty head. He's got a shitty looking head.
What a poopy guy.
I've been hanging around my kid too much.
Yeah.
I just know he's a piece of garbage. That's really all I know, though. So
He's pretty irredeemable in a lot of ways. But I will and this is a spoilers, but it happens in season 4, I think. He does die. He does die. He gets poisoned. And when he does, it's a big moment. It's a huge moment in the show. Everyone's like, holy fuck, yeah, he's dead. But part of me was just like, oh, man, now that he's dead, like, is there anyone else that's going to rise to, like, how shitty of a, like, he's interesting because the show is all about shitty people. And are they going to have someone else as shitty as him to, like, make the show interesting? And the answer is, like, not really. Once he kind of goes, it kind of, like, you have some really bad people out there, but not to the level of Joffrey and what he did to the entire kingdom. Dan?
So, sorry, what are, and Dan can answer this, what are some of the things that he's done, that he did, that are so terrible? But also, after that, why should he be in the top 5 then? Or in nominations at all?
Yeah. Dan, how about you go first?
Yeah, I would just say, like, I don't know how, like, I watched it such a long time ago, so I'm kind of just left with, like, the impressions of him. He's like a sadistic little twerp. Like, he's cruel, and he tortures people. But he's like, I think he should be in the top, he should be nominated for sure, at least, because he's like one of those characters that you love to hate.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like, what's this fucking guy gonna do now? Like, I fucking hate him. I hope someone kills him. Like every week you'd be like, this stuff would be going through your mind, right? But yeah, I just remember him being like very torturous and just spoiled, like just twerpy, spoiled, like sadistic little clown sitting on the throne.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, okay, so I have a couple like notes that I wrote down here of the things that he did that are bad, and it's okay. First of all, he executes Sean Bean. That's something. He gets Sean Bean.
Sean
killed.
Bean had it coming though. Like,
Sean Bean has it coming as soon as he enters the.
Yeah, he's
going to die at some point.
Yeah.
He made one of the daughter of Sean Bean. He made her look at his head on a pike, essentially, and just be like, look what I did to your dad. Like, I can do this to anybody, including you, so you better listen to me and marry me so I can plant a baby in you. So he's really bad to females. He's really bad to other people. He's not, but he's a child too. So there's a lot of times where he is just, I think a fascinating part of it is because he's still growing up. So there's specks of him as you look at him and you're like, oh, but he's just a kid. And this is how like a really spoiled kid would act. A really, really spoiled kid would act. And that's kind of what makes his arc fascinating, I guess. Let's see. He orders to kill a lot of people. There's a scene where he someone sends, what do you call it? I don't want to say it's not prostitute. What's the word for that? They send someone to his room, let's say.
Like a sex worker?
Like a sex worker, but in the Game of Thrones world, there's a word for that they use in the show. Doesn't matter. They send someone. What's that?
Like a concubine?
A porcupine.
Porcupine. Yeah, I guess they said a porcupine. No, but they send her this lady that you kind of spent a couple episodes with. She's really nice. She's a sex worker, and she's like, "What can I do for you, King Joffrey?" And he's just like, he's not really into sex stuff, so he's really into like torture. So he's like, "How about I like whip you?" Or how about I just got this new crossbow, and he ends up killing her. And that was like him getting off, was like him like killing people and stuff like that. I'm not really selling him. I'm more trying to show like there is different types of kings out there, and this one is very interesting to watch, even though he's fucked up. But I can go more on that later. Justin, what do you got?
So for me, it's very similar to kind of what you mentioned, Tuong. Like, this is one that I feel needed to be mentioned. I think he's absolutely worth further discussion for potential in the top 5. Is King Arthur.
Which one? I guess you don't have to say. There's so many King Arthur iterations.
So that's what's kind of really fascinating about King Arthur, is that his story his legend is mainly composed of like folklore and literary invention. So like modern, like most historians generally believe like he is unhistorical. Like an actual King Arthur never existed. It's just like a group of stories that people kind of put together to make this mythical king, this all around amazing ruler and leader of England who like drove out the Saxons and saved the kingdom, like, did all that. So I think that's a really fascinating thing, that he kind of has like, there's little bits of and stories and aspects of his story where you're just like, maybe he was real. Like maybe this person from history is who the Arthur legend is based off of. Or maybe it's just, no, it's these 4 or 5 or 20 leaders of these small little communities, and they all did great deeds, and then to rally everybody, they put all those stories and made it into one person, sort of thing. I think that's just such a fascinating idea. But the reason I think he should be nominated is that the imagery of King Arthur as the leader of the Knights of the Round Table, and he goes around to different areas of England, and he rescues maidens, and he fights off dragons, and he like wards off, encroaching armies and stuff like that, and is generally seen as this utmost good leader who always has the will of the people and the will of the land kind of first and foremost in his head. He's an ideal king, and I just love that notion. So that's why I think he should be nominated.
I was just thinking of like all the iterations of King Arthur, right? Because we have the Sword in the Stone is King Arthur, right?
Yeah,
so we have him. Excalibur is the sword, I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. We have Charlie Hunnam Very sexy man.
Very sexy.
Great facial hair. I don't know why we didn't nominate him in the facial hair episode. And now he was King Arthur. I don't think that movie did too well.
No.
There was King Arthur, and my favorite iteration is the Monty Python King Arthur and the Holy
With the
Grail.
Coconuts. Yeah.
The coconuts, yeah.
Perfect.
Very, very popular king. And I think there was another King Arthur thing that just came out pretty recently. So it feels like it's a story that gets told again and again and again and again.
Yeah, there's so many, iterations and retellings and aspects of the story, like the Holy Grail aspect. Like that wasn't, Monty Python didn't do that first. Like that was an aspect of his legend that, was brought down through centuries. He also has one of the best, most badass last names ever, Arthur Pendragon, which to me is just so fucking sick. So there you go.
You can change your last name?
Yeah, that's hot.
That's hot. She said it's hot. So yeah.
Shannon's in.
Shannon
Now I
Pendragon.
can't call you Big Godly anymore.
Big Dragon Dick Godly or something like that.
Yeah. Penis dragon that is okay. Shannon, what do you have?
So for my next nom, I am bringing the ultimate Disney daddy to the table with King Titan.
King who?
King Titan from The Little Mermaid. He's one of the few Disney characters to ever show off his nipples in a movie. And he is just...
Isn't it King Triton?
Yeah, that was King Triton.
Isn't that what I said?
You said King Titan.
Well, Triton. Thank you.
One drink in.
I got a little swooned into that movie, but yeah, Triton.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just, I don't know. I think it's pretty sweet that they were able to show somebody half naked in a Disney movie, and I'm glad it was him.
There's a lot of sexual energy in The Little Mermaid. For every mer person out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Shannon. No guy can tell me that they didn't that like when you're like kind of being aware of like what like a hot lady is. No kid is gonna say no. Ariel wasn't hot. Like you're just not gonna just stop lying to yourself.
You know what?
Yes.
I could do without the top half. I'm all about the bottom half fish.
That's I mean, anything else would be ridiculous.
I was just like, look at those fins.
Look at those flippers flopping around.
We all know that Tongue is really after the reverse merman.
Yeah, for sure.
Fish on the top, naked dude on the bottom.
Oh God. I go to that party for sure.
Sorry, wait, you had more to say.
No. That's literally the end of it. I am
okay.
nominating him for his raw sexual appeal in a Disney movie.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like what else did Kring. I can't speak tonight either. Apparently, King Triton. What else did he do in that movie?
He
obviously
set
very
boundaries. He wanted the best for his daughter.
Yep.
He eventually conceded when she found the love of her life and wanted legs.
Did he grant the legs? Do you remember?
Nope, that was Ursula, and then the whole thing kind of went awry, and then finally the movie ends and he says, okay.
Great. Amazing.
That's how they just come to him and he's like, yeah, okay. And then that's credits.
and I mean, as a dad, he wanted to like give his distance while she like went off gallivanting, but he still sent Flounder along to kind of like make sure she was good and taken care of, and like it was a good dad move for sure. Like not overbearing, but still wanting to make sure that he was taking care of his little girl, kind of thing.
Yeah, and the dude can fight. The guy has a trident.
That's true.
Yep.
It's pretty
I'd like to
badass.
focus on the
Triton.
fact that Shannon led with the Disney daddy. That's
The ultimate Disney daddy.
Disney daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Disney Dummies After Dark podcast, which is called Disney Daddies.
Yeah. I would like to
Disney
put myself.
Daddies After Dark.
I'd like to nominate myself to be a co-host on that. That'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah, Shannon, you know what? In fact, you can just run the entire show.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. I'm gonna take that and run with it.
And just make Justin watch, just watch you record. He can't be part of it, of course. Just like Clockwork
absolutely
Orange
not.
him. Just like put that machine up to his eyes and he can't blink. Dan, I hope you have a daddy for your nomination. Top 5 daddies.
He's Disney, but he's not a daddy, as far as I'm aware of, at least. I'm gonna nominate Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King.
Yes.
that's
Oh.
solid.
King, come on.
Come on.
It's in the name.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I love it.
So, love the movie, love the character. You know, he's a great singer, and he's great at scaring people as well. But he also yearns for more, and he discovers Christmas, and he brings it back to the people of his town, and tries to get them excited in this as well. And he actually does win them over to something that's totally new and foreign to them. So. He's very diverse and inclusive, I feel, and really cool character design. I find it kind of interesting that this is kind of a side note that a movie from I think the early to mid 90s suddenly had such a huge resurgence in the mid 2000s. I have no idea where that came from.
Yeah,
it was all the emo and pop punk culture. So those kids were like they grew up on The Nightmare Before Christmas, and they were molded by it, so they're just I love Jack Skellington, and then they put it in artwork, and then it just resurfaced again, and people are like, oh right, this movie
there's deviant art of Jack Skellington out there.
Yeah, I've drawn it.
Yeah, that's a great nomination, Dan. This I didn't even think of the Pumpkin King. He is a very iconic character. Not sure how much of a king he is besides just the title, but I will still accept the nomination. Does he rule over Halloween Town at all, or is he just kind of the leader of it? I
think the mayor looks to him for all of the approvals and advice and overseeing everything. I feel like the mayor's just implementing his wishes, really.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay,
from what I remember, Shan's absolutely right. The mayor is always coming to him in the when they introduce him in the first song. I think they explicitly call him the Pumpkin King as well, which kind of to me seems like the king of Halloween. And everyone seems to look to him for absolutely everything.
I'm really disappointed that I didn't think of this one. It's such a great nomination to me. He's such a leader and a believer, and I don't know.
Well, when he goes missing, because he yearns to find something more, which I think is another very kind of interesting kingly trait. He wants more for himself and his people. When he goes missing for 12 hours, the entire town fucking loses
Goes
their
into
mind.
chaos,
Where's Jack? He's fucking dead.
we
Oh my god.
need him. Halloween's about to start.
There's only 365 days till Halloween. He just freaks out. And so they clearly love the guy, and they look to him for support and leadership and guidance.
But I love that he's the dreamer that wants more for his people. Yeah, I think that's a super awesome nomination. I love it.
Yeah. And I like how he's a very emotional leader as well. He's there's no toxic masculinity about Jack Skellington. He's very open about his feelings all the time. Sings about it right at the top.
A man who can sing his emotions wins me over every time.
And everyone else is like, yeah, Jack, you sing about them. And they're all okay about it. It's really great. Dan, that's a great nomination. And I expect at some point you will also sing about your emotions. Maybe in the second half.
Don't count on it.
Don't count on it.
Get that man more to drink.
Yeah.
That's true. We're going to round 3, everyone. Final round. So far, I guess we only have one real king, except the king of rock, which I still love. I still love it. All right. Where do we want to go here? Where do we want to go? I think I'm going to go with this. Because we already have a Disney king, and I was going to go with another Disney king, but I feel like it's too on the nose now, and it could be an honorable mention. I think.
You can't top the ultimate Disney daddy. Come on.
Well, I feel like this other one might be pretty close. I feel like this other one. I'm not going to say it, but I'll say it for honorable mention. You tell me if you think he's a Disney daddy. I'm going to talk about another daddy. A daddy of turtles. Essentially, of turtle people, turtle things. I'm talking about a very popular video game character. I'm talking about the Koopa King, Bowser.
Oh,
I like it.
You like that? Is that okay?
I do.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, what's
That's
to say
good.
about Bowser? Bowser is he's an icon. He's an icon in video games. He is you know what? He's a fun bad guy. Where Joffrey is a dick. and he's like really fun to watch. Bowser's fun to watch, and he is kind of a dick sometimes, but I think some of the most charming parts of Bowser in video games is when he kind of like also gets emotional about things, and when he's just like, oh, I just want to like steal Peach because I want to hang out with her kind of thing. Like, I
just really like her.
Yeah, I just want to be her friend. Like in Super Mario Odyssey, he wants to marry her. That's it. Like he's just like, I just want to be with somebody. Like Mario, get out of my way. That's it. Like, come on, let us be in love. Like, what are you doing? And I think, I'm not sure. Like Dan, you've interacted with Bowser your entire life, probably. What are your thoughts on him?
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I totally agree. Like kind of like the bad king, I guess, but like he's like the cool bad king, where Joffrey's just like he's just like a little shit, you know. But he's like, you know, you love to hate him, like I said. But yeah, with Bowser, King Koopa, yeah, he's just like, yeah, he's the bad guy, but but he's cool though too. Yeah, you kind of want to be him as well.
Yeah, but he's also like bumbling sometimes too, which I think is really charming about him. And he reminds me of like Team Rocket from Pokemon. It's like every time he like kind of like loses a battle, he's just like, I'll get you, Mario, and it's just like a really cheesy kind of thing, but it's like, that's
he like
fun.
Explodes into the background.
Yeah, and it's just fun. It's like, we'll see you again, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again, Bowser. But he can also like obviously be very imposing too. There's some like iterations of Bowser when he goes like Giga Bowser, and he goes into like an ultimate form where he's huge, or like Skull Bowser where he looks kind of more freaky and he breathes fire and stuff. So there's like, Bowser's really layered as a king is all I'm trying to say.
Giga Bowser is friggin' terrifying. Giga Bowser is utterly horrifying.
Right?
Like you see him show up in Smash and it's I'm screwed now. Like it's horrifying.
He's too big.
My favorite thing about Bowser, I think, though, is the ways in which he is beaten. Like in Super Mario World for Nintendo, like he has a flying smiley face propeller balloon thing, and you just throw bombs at him, and then they fall in. Like it's like an Abbott and Costello bit where like a bomb showed, like they throw the bomb comes back up, and they're like, ugh, and then it blows up in his face, and then he goes flying back. In Super Mario 64, he just gets picked up by his tail and swirled around like the idiot that he is. Like it's just he's so imposing, and he has like the most elaborate plans and so many minions, and then he just like Mario shows up and he's just like, well, I'm fucked. Like, he's beaten by this shitty Italian plumber. It's hilarious. I just love it so much.
Yeah. Shannon, what are your interactions with Bowser in your life? Have you played a lot of Mario games ever?
Yeah, those are the only games I play other than Zelda, I guess. And I'm not very good at video games, so I don't get past Bowser very often.
Bowser beats you.
Yeah, so to me, I think Bowser is king and terrifying, and I think it's a great nom.
Thank you. We'll move on. Justin, what do you have?
Oh, God. Well, you guys mentioned at the start, well, Shannon, I guess, mentioned at the start that I write, I do a lot of research.
Oh, yeah, too much. It's annoying, really. It makes the rest of us look bad.
I haven't,
especially the host, me. I didn't write any notes.
I have so many notes for this person. So many notes, and
Here
I'm not going to say,
folks.
and I'm not going to say them all. Like you can ask for more, like later on when we're discussing it further. But this is a real person, and.
We're about to get educated.
You're about to get educated about somebody who needs to be more known in Western civilization. Let's put it that way.
Here we go.
I'm going to nominate King Cyrus II of Persia.
Oh, I don't know who this person is. I'm excited.
No idea.
No one does. And to be perfectly fair, I didn't know about him until like 2 weeks ago. Which is fascinating that we've because we only decided to do this topic a week ago. So it's kismet that this all worked out. So he is commonly known, King Cyrus II of Persia, commonly known as Cyrus the Great or Cyrus the Elder by the Greeks. He founded the first Persian Empire, the Achaemenid Empire. And under his rule, the empire basically conquered most of Western Asia and a lot, in fact, most of Central Asia. The reason I'm nominating him is he's a fascinating figure from that time. Like this is like in biblical times that this guy existed. He was a real person, but he's so far back in history that the way that he ruled seems so odd. It seems so like modern to us, to readers about him. He respected the customs and the religions of the lands that he conquered. So he would go in and being like, "Oh, you're Jewish or you're Christian or whatever. That's fine. You're under my rule, but you keep doing your own thing. Worship who you want to worship. Have your own customs. That's cool. Just I'm your leader, but that's all you got to do." He was also renowned for his civil liberties. He wasn't, he didn't criticize or what's the word I'm looking for? Ostracize anybody. Everybody was part of the community, regardless of where you were from, what the color of the skin your skin was. Didn't matter. You were part of that kingdom, which I find really fascinating for somebody in 300 BC.
Yeah.
That's pretty fascinating. He's well recognized for his achievements in human rights, politics, and military strategy, as well as his influence on both Eastern and Western civilization. And according to Wikipedia, he's a cult figure amongst modern Iranians, and his tomb serves as a spot of reverence for millions of people. And it's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Oh, that's
cool. Pretty fascinating.
That's cool.
His influence apparently can be found also in the United States. I guess Thomas Jefferson was a massive fan of his and owned a bunch of copies of his work. And his influence the influence of this guy can be seen in the writings in the Declaration of Independence. That's how forward thinking, I guess, this leader was.
Shit.
I have a lot more, but I'm not going to go into it right now. But he is a fascinating person, and one that a lot of historians say his achievements outweigh Alexander the Great. He is far and above one of the greatest rulers to have ever lived.
But can he withstand an atomic bomb?
Fuck. God damn it, Dan.
All right. Well, he's cut. So no. He sounds really interesting, and it makes me now it makes me kind of sad where I'm just maybe we should have just done all real kings, because I bet we could have learned a lot.
There would have been some cool, we all would have had to do some actual research. But I guarantee there's so many figures like that people just don't know anything about.
Yeah.
But that's super fucking cool that you did some research.
Yeah, that is
I am not a smart person. I literally found out about him again 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, just by happenstance. So it's not I've been waiting to release this guy on the world or anything like that. It's just
this is my time.
This is my time to shine. I just find him fascinating. I kept reading more about him. This guy's fucking cool. I really like this. And again, I have more we can talk about later if it comes up. But
I think it will. It will. All right, Shannon, how do you top that?
All right, Tuong. Well, you alluded to this earlier in the cast, and I'm excited to bring you exactly what you asked for. My nomination is the LA Kings.
Of course. Yes, that makes sense. This makes sense.
These 2-time Stanley Cup winners in 2012 and 2014 have turned Tinseltown into Hockey Town.
Oh, there it is.
In 1988, they brought the great one, Wayne Gretzky, to their ice, and in bringing him to LA, they made hockey popular not only in California, but the southern states as a whole. They completely popularized hockey in the southern U.S., which is pretty fucking rad. Right now, their GM is hockey great Rob Blake. Having that on your not in your organization is pretty fucking rad. And then I just have some fun little tidbits about the team just to... Is it
a BuzzFeed list?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
This is some other article that I didn't do much research on.
So you didn't... Okay, all right, let's hear it.
Hey, give me credit. I did something this time, guys.
You did.
You can
honestly, Shannon, you did more than me, so...
So Steve Carlson, one of the famous Hanson brothers from the movie Slapshot, if anyone's ever seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone?
Yeah. No, I have not. Sorry, did you say one of the Hanson brothers?
Yeah, they were a famous hockey...
But not the musicians Hanson.
Because that's all I'm thinking about.
They're hockey famous brothers. They were like bruisers. And
sure.
He played for the Kings in the 79 1980 season. Former Kings goalie Glenn Healy played the Scottish bagpipes and once accompanied Paul McCartney during a concert in Toronto. Fun, right?
Fun.
And former Kings player Ted Irvin had a son who became a famous WWF wrestler under the name of Chris Jericho.
Oh,
What? How cool is that,
That's
guys?
actually pretty cool.
All right,
I didn't know that.
all right,
That's pretty
I'm
neat.
back. I'm back. You
All
got
right.
me.
Chris Jericho's daddy.
It all relates to daddies.
That's what I'm here for. That's what I bring to the table.
Great nomination, Shannon. I you know what? It makes sense. I was waiting for some sort of sports anything to come up, and of course it had to come from you. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Dan, are we going to get a real king or a sports team? Like, what kind of wild thing are you going to throw at us for your
So
final
excited.
nomination?
No. I know it's been a little while, but I'm bringing back the Disney daddies.
Kudos.
Also, one of the only Disney daddies to most likely have exposed nipples. It's under fur. It's the Lion King. It's Mufasa, guys.
Yeah,
Wonderful,
okay, thank you. This is
wonderful
what I was going to
nomination.
say. That was my nomination. Thank you, Dan. So you are going with Mufasa. You're going to go with Mufasa.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go
okay,
with
good.
Mufasa. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. I mean, Simba's great, but yeah, Mufasa. James Earl Jones has a more kingly voice ever existed, right?
No, you're probably right.
No.
I mean, maybe
right?
Elvis,
That
but it's,
scene with the cloud. Oh, well, yeah, singing voice.
But
He's
you know,
got a-
yeah, singing.
Yeah,
It's different.
yeah,
It's different.
If a king could sing, it would sound like
Yeah,
Elvis.
there you go.
I mean, I'd be terrified if Elvis came in a cloud to me and started going like, "You're nothing but a hound dog. Get away from me."
The devil.
But yeah, that scene with him in the clouds, amazing. I mean, everyone in the Pride, looked up to him. He was there trying to save his son. Spoiler alert, he had to sacrifice himself.
What?
Have you guys seen the movie?
Spoiler alert
I don't
for
know
a
if you've seen
30-year-old
it or not.
movie.
I've only seen Lion King 1.5. I'm sorry.
He's very confused.
That would make a lot of sense, actually. But yeah, such an iconic scene, trying to save his son, ends up sacrificing himself in a way. Well, gets killed, but it's such a sad scene. Yeah, very emotional scene. I think for a lot of people who grew up with that movie or just saw it as a child, the death of Mufasa, the death of the king is so sad. But yeah, I just, whenever, it was, I think, probably one of the first kings that came to mind. I was like, oh yeah, Mufasa.
Yeah. Dan, I want to hear, because, we kind of just brushed it aside. And I agree with you. If I were to choose a king from The Lion King, even though that movie is about Simba,
Yeah.
why Mufasa over Simba, I guess, is the question.
I think by the ending of the movie, you see Simba becoming king, but I feel like through more of the movie, I feel like Mufasa is the king, and he's like in his father's shadow as a king, leaving behind such a legacy. I don't know. He has a little more presence, I feel, too. Like, even just like the character design just feels like a little, like, I mean, I know Simba's still like younger even by the end of the movie, but he kind of has this more weightiness to him. Kind of like I feel like he has like a broader kind of face as well.
Yep.
And I think a lot of it's the performance from James Earl Jones too, just like that strong, wise voice. It's very kingly in its presence for sure.
I think another reason why you could or / should choose Mufasa is that his losses, it reverberates like throughout the rest of the movie. Like, Mufasa seems to like have the power to keep it sunny and grass fed everywhere. Like as soon as Mufasa's gone, like Pride Rock and the surrounding area just becomes desolate and kind of a shithole. But the movie does a really good job at saying like this is how great of a king and a leader that this creature was, that when he's gone, his loss is felt far and wide. I think the movie does a very good job at that. So I think that's why Mufasa probably, I say, would make more sense, even though The Lion King is about Simba.
Yeah.
And he also respects like the circle of life as well. Like, even though he's like this strong, lion, he teaches to Simba that, everything matters, it's not just, like our time here is short. And, even though they're strong lions, like all the animals within their kingdom all do their parts and they all go through this circle of life together. So I think it's a very like kind of like kingly kind of thing to say, and a lesson to impart on, someone who's about to take the throne. He is about to, but he doesn't know. But down the road, he's imagining he will be.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that. Sorry, I'm really happy that you went with this, like with the Mufasa nomination over Simba. Like I knew this one was going to come up, but I wasn't sure which character it was going to be. But yeah, Simba definitely has the bigger story arc and has more screen time. But Mufasa, the whole time, like he's on this pedestal, right? Like he's what Simba is like striving to be, and yeah, when you put someone on a pedestal like that, it's hard to ever compare yourself to that. But yeah, just the greatness and the legacy that Mufasa left for his son, like that's I think what makes him such a great king.
And good daddy.
And good daddy.
So, no,
I don't really want to venture into animal daddy territory, though. That's for another cast.
Another cast. Oh, a companion cast to the other cast. Oh, man. A lot of spin-offs to Disney Dummies now. Disney Dummies, Disney
I'm going to be
Daddies,
busy.
Disney Furries. We're all over the place. No, I completely agree, Dan. I would have, when I was about to nominate Lion King, I was also going Mufasa. There's something about him, his presence, everything you already said. I can literally listen to Mufasa talk about the antelope and all that other stuff for like hours on end, or like just talk to Rafiki and stuff. Although Simba gets to be held by Rafiki, so that's a plus. I mean, wouldn't you want to be carried by like a baboon type of creature?
I mean, seemingly Mufasa would have been as well, though. I mean, depending on how old Rafiki is.
He seems real old.
He seems pretty damn old.
Pretty. That's an old baboon.
Yeah, for sure.
That's an old baboon ass.
All right. Well, how about we take a break? We have our list of 12 kings here, our royal list of 12. And yeah, we need to break. So let's go sing about our emotions. And when we're back, we'll rank this list. We'll be back. Now, introducing King Dan.
Oh, hail King Dan.
Oh. Well, here I am,
And
King
Santa
Dan.
Claus.
And I'm going to use all of the kingdom's riches, I think, to buy myself something nice.
Sire, you deserve everything in this world. Here, have the rest of our family's money and this cow.
I don't
And the
have
cow.
much. I don't have much to offer, but here's 2 coins for you. This should give you lots of money to buy something you like, my liege.
Oh, thank you for those 2 coins, you sick leech. Thank you. I'll take that right away.
Sir,
Won't buy
as
some
your-
medicine for you either.
Sir, as your royal advisor, I have to say, like, this is a lot of money. This is a lot of money. You can buy a ton of stuff. Like, how are you going to do it?
Well, let me tell you, I'll just pull out my phone here, and I'll go on Amazon, and I'll use the affiliate link for this podcast.
Oh, you mean the PodCavern Amazon affiliate link? If they go to www.podcavern.com, click on the link, it won't cost them any extra money, and it gives a little kickback to the PodCavern, your kingdom?
That's the one, yes.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm just going to press a couple buttons for you as your advisor. Here we go, here we go. Oh, that's in your cart. That's interesting.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but could I get that coin back? I'm feeling very sick. I need medicine.
There's no give backsies.
It's just and roll King Dan, little great.
Sorry, the king just whispered in my ear that he's going to have to execute you, so...
And my suffering.
PodCavern.com.
Top five.
We are back, everyone. What a commercial we just had. I mean, I feel like I just learned so much about King Dan. I've learned so much about Justin's alter ego, which is like half sickly woman, but also half Gollum.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that method acting that you just did on the commercial, Justin?
Look, I searched deep within myself, and I found what my true feelings are, which are essentially just sadness and
Sickness.
so fucking tired. Just so tired, you know? And I just channeled that into my character, and I appreciate you all for not only for appreciating it and listening to it, but also diving deep, and maybe it helped you find something deep within yourselves.
Yeah.
Also,
Shannon, how did that make you feel?
Also sadness. Yeah.
Hey, we have a royal mission, a royal quest.
I'd say quest. Yeah, quest.
A quest is more. Yeah, let's say that a royal quest to rank these into a top 5 list. We have a bunch of kings here. Some real, some not. Some are gags. It's going to be all over the place.
Some are gay.
So yeah, and here we go. We have King T'Challa, King Aragorn, Elvis Presley, the King of Rock, Godzilla, the King of Monsters, King Joffrey, Baratheon. We have King Arthur, King Triton, not King Titan, King Triton.
Whoops.
Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King, Bowser, the Koopa King, King Cyrus II. Is that it?
That is
Did
right.
I get that?
Yeah.
Okay. The LA Kings, which for all of you who are listening, if you don't know, it's a hockey team. It's a hockey team.
Yeah, it's a
It's a
hockey
badminton
team.
It's a volleyball team. It's a sports team. They're all the same. And we have Mufasa, one of the Lion Kings.
Correct.
So the true Lion King. All right. So how do we navigate this? We have a list of 12. How about we go do what we usually do in star nominations here? So I'll have Justin. Can you star a nomination that isn't one of your own?
You know what? Honestly, I know this is going to sound like, of course he's going to choose Shannon's, but she hits me if I don't. No, I'm kidding. I really like the curveball, but the really, I think, smart nomination for Elvis. I think that
Thank you.
stands.
Yes.
I don't know. I think that's a really good
It was
curveball,
incredibly
but
smart
not
of
like.
me.
Watch it. We can still rescind it. But it's out of left field, but it still makes a lot of sense. I think that one works.
I think, yeah, it's solid. I mean, he doesn't turn himself to a head cloud, but I'll take it.
Well, we can't all
Has
be
some good
winners.
music.
Yeah.
Shannon, can you star one that isn't one of your own?
I'm going to T'Challa. It was, for me, my number one anyway. So, it's great.
Awesome. Wakanda Forever. Dan, what do you have?
I'm gonna star Bowser.
The
King
Koopa
of the
King.
Koopas. Yeah.
What's your best Bowser impression?
Come on, let's hear it. Come on.
That's pretty
bad,
good.
right?
It's pretty good. I mean, the laugh at the beginning, not very Bowser-ish, but
boy.
you saved it at the very end. In Super Mario Sunshine, he actually talks.
What?
Really?
There's a whole side tangent. They do some voice acting in Super Mario Sunshine, and characters that didn't talk before are suddenly voiced, and you're like, that's fucking weird. And then every game after that, they're like, no, it was better when they didn't talk.
I don't want that. No.
Yeah, so Bowser was talking. Bowser Jr. was talking. It was a whole thing. It was really weird. I'm going to go with the one true king, Aragorn. Aragorn!
Yeah.
I got to say it like Legolas. Aragorn!
Aragorn.
And there we go. We have King T'Challa, Bowser, King Aragorn, and Elvis starred. At this stage, let's start open floor. You can star your own again, or if you want. And start just fighting for your babies if you want to. So how about we start with Dan? Is there anything on this list that you also want further discussion on?
I'm gonna say, it's so tough. The one I did the most research for really was Godzilla. So I thought there was a lot of really funny things to talk about. But I don't know. I think realistically, though, I'll say Mufasa. I want to protect Mufasa a little bit more than Godzilla.
Okay, protect him because he famously dies, and we don't want that to happen again.
That's right. That's right.
See if you can save him from Scar. Shannon.
Well, there's two that really interest me. The King Cyrus II to me is just super fascinating, and the fact that he is a real life dude that had some real world impact is fascinating. And Jack Skellington, to me, the fact that I didn't even think of him, that hurts my soul a little bit, but there's such a strong argument to be made for this character as a king.
Yeah, I like it. So I'll star those for further consideration. Justin, any leftovers that you want to star?
I would like to say King Arthur, but I kind of have a feeling that I'm going to lose the battle. There's a lot of really great. Truly, there are a lot of really great nominations on this list, and I just don't see. I don't see him making the cut. I still think we could have further discussion on him because I think he's very similar to like our Merlin, like our with wizards, and he's kind of like similar to Merlin, where. Yeah, he's not the best, but he's so notable.
Totally.
And I'm going to be the dick that maybe suggests to eliminate one. And
to eliminate one that's already starred?
No. To eliminate a potential one on here, like get rid of it from the list. If that's okay, if I can do that.
I feel like I think the ones that are not starred right now, just doing a quick scan, probably aren't making it anyway.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right. Continue.
Right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Although now I have to know.
Yeah, now I'm curious.
Who are you going to behead them?
I with his own trident, I would say King Triton.
Oh, fuck you.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Now look.
Is it his nipples?
It's his nipples. They arouse me in a way that's confusing, and I don't like it.
Hashtag free the nipple.
No, I think the nomination's great. I think it's hilarious. The reasons that you're giving are valid. I just don't think it stands up to the rest of the nominations. That's all.
I mean, I didn't even get his name right. I'm fine to leave him off the list.
I wanted to look up this because you remember the famous image of the Little Mermaid, and in the background, you know how they used to do a bunch of subliminal messaging.
Yeah, it would say
and there's like a penis
or
whatever.
Yeah.
In the castle. So I was trying to find that image because obviously I need to see it again. And the first headline I see is Disney cut an accidental erection from the Little Mermaid.
We've all had an accidental erection, guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. They cut one, and that's why King Triton has to be cut.
Yeah. Nice.
Basically.
Is he cut, though, Shannon? Do you know? Is he cut?
Jesus. No, his fin is intact.
Oh. Sexy.
And I feel like the only other one that I felt really, really fun to hear about was Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
You know, like there is something there, I think.
Yeah, I got to be honest. When you first said Godzilla, King of the Monsters, I was just like, oh, for fuck's sakes. Like, honestly. But your arguments and the further discussion afterwards was like, I kind of came around to at least being like, no, I can hear more on this. Like, I could consider this. So.
And right off the hop, bringing up the King of the Monsters, I was like, fuck yes, curveball. This is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the amount of passion and research you brought to it, I want to hear more.
You know what's funny about
that's all the research.
That's all you got.
Okay, just repeat it to me.
It took more than 10 minutes. That's my cutoff point.
You know what's funny about this group too, and this is the issue that we run into all the time, is that we're so like close with one another that we're not like we're gonna be like kind of mean spirited, but not not real about it, and we all just being like, we all did such a good job. Like, can we all just have them all? Like, it's just like it's so stupid.
Yeah. Okay, so how about I will star him for now because we starred most of the list, but I think the rest can go. I will say I'll give a funeral to I will poison Joffrey once again, give him his own purple wedding. Although I do think, like, just to counterpoint for a second and then immediately counterpoint my own counterpoint, I do think he is at least embodies a different type of king than what we have on this list, which is, you know, like a king of terror.
Oh, I love that angle on it. Like, I really do. It doesn't do much for me personally looking at the list, but I definitely think there's a reason to go for a king that's kind of a shithead. So
he's a big shithead.
Or as I said, a shitty head for some reason.
Yeah, he kills so many people at a whim. It's insane, but it is fascinating because he's a kid and he's a coward as well. So he never kills. Well, he killed that one person that I told you about earlier, but most of the time he's running away from battles or like hiding in a room or something because he's not actually that tough as he thinks he is, but he has the status to tell other people to do his like twisted things, essentially. So, and
to be fair, I know he's a fictional king, but he probably shares some of the closest likeness to real kings of most people on this list. Like, I don't know. I think most kings throughout history were probably just villainous,
absolutely
sadistic dicks.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He does a thing that's in the first season where he kills his like dad's all of the bastard childs in the kingdom because his dad slept around with everybody essentially.
Nice.
And he didn't want anyone to have claim to the throne. So he's just like, I want all these bastards killed, including the newborns. And you see that scene play out where all of these like the royal guard comes in and stabs a bunch of babies essentially and like kids and like grabbing people from like houses. It's crazy. It's an insane scene, but it's like it's juicy. It's like it's just like like this is television, holy shit. Like it was just a fascinating thing to see. But anyways, I don't need to see him on this list. I think it'd be cool because he would make it different, I guess, than the other kings that we have, but I'd be fine to see him go too. So what do you guys think?
I'm okay to see him go. You make valid arguments for him, but I don't think he has enough to stand up to the rest of them.
Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's dead. So, and the LA Kings, terrible hockey team.
Oh, come on.
I don't know.
Oh, no.
I mean, right, currently they're not that great, but they did win 2 Stanley Cups.
Nobody's currently playing in the NHL.
That's good. That's a good point.
What?
So currently they all fucking suck, or they're all fucking great. I don't.
Shannon,
Sorry.
are the LA Kings one of your top 5 hockey teams?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Do you know what? They actually might be. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we should do a top 5 hockey teams. Do you want to be a part of that one, Tung?
Can they be fictional?
Quack.
All right. So, what do you think about should the LA Kings stay?
No.
Probably not.
I'm fine to let them go. I would just wanted to make a point.
Okay, fair enough.
I love them as like a curveball nom.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it.
All right, let me just rattle off our list, which is basically everyone except for a few. King T'Challa, Bowser, Aragorn, Arthur, King Cyrus, Elvis, Godzilla, Jack, and Mufasa. That's 9. We have way too much. We got to cut 4 of these guys. Is there any that are locks? Let's go with that. What are the locks on this list? I think
T'Challa.
King T'Challa.
T'Challa, yeah, lock him.
King T'Challa. Yeah. Lock?
No. Okay. No. Like I'm very much I think in the same boat. However, are we being influenced by the very unfortunate and sad recent passing?
No.
Okay, I'm just
The
making sure.
real King T'Challa did not die.
I know that. I'm making sure that we're not just being like, let's do an honor thing here. That's not influencing our decision. I don't think it is, but I'm just making sure that we're all on the same page with that.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I will say that's why I kind of like set it up in that way when I first nominated it.
Yeah.
It's really hard to separate what Chadwick Boseman did to the character.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because like nobody really knew Black Panther beforehand. Like comic book nerds did, but like, I mean, it took Marvel, the cinematic universe, to bring Black Panther to life.
I didn't know Black Panther was a character until the MCU introduced him. I genuinely didn't know that. So I think that's an amazing thing. Yeah.
And I think there is a level of like, yeah, Chadwick Boseman made what King T'Challa is, but it's because he played that character in a way that we understand what that character is and that we can like connect with that character. We're like, oh my God, that performance makes me understand this king and what he strives to do. And it really makes me love this character. Dan, thoughts?
Yeah, I would say that, it's definitely worth bringing up for sure. Just to not have like emotion influence the decision. But yeah, I would say like Chadwick Boseman like brought that character to life, like made him flesh and blood and represented him so well. But I mean, yeah, he's got such a rich history in the comics and even in some of the cartoon shows, like I think it's called Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. He appeared in that one too, well represented as a cartoon character, and was a king for sure too.
Okay, and again, I didn't want to. I agree. I think he probably should be kind of a lock for somewhere in the top 5. I just want to make sure we're not being influenced by something that shouldn't.
I think
be.
that's fair, and I think that should be talked about anyways, right?
Yeah.
And Shannon, would you agree with everything that's just said too? I guess. Or?
Yeah, 100%.
Cool.
All right, locking it in.
Locking it in, and locks have to be unanimous. So if we get someone who's like meh, then we'll just skip it over.
For
okay?
sure, yeah.
So Bowser, lock or no lock?
I don't think it's a lock.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't think it's
okay.
a lock.
It's okay.
No?
Aragorn, lock or no lock?
I mean, you know my stance, but that's not fair.
So we're turning it down.
I would say not a lock.
Ooh, okay. I was gonna just say lock. Okay. King.
Only
King
because he doesn't own himself as a king throughout the entire movies. I don't know.
Okay, like yeah, we'll have discussion.
Yeah,
We can talk about
that's
that.
my reasoning.
That's a valid
yes.
reason. 100%. Cool.
It's like he doesn't
Justin,
give a
you're
shit
so
to be
mature
a king.
about this.
He does give a shit, Shannon.
Save it.
We're on the cast.
King Arthur, lock or no lock?
I don't think he's a lock yet. We'll discuss him a little bit, but I don't think he's a lock. But
Yeah, I would
Okay.
agree. Not
All right.
lock.
King Cyrus.
to me, this guy's a lock.
I
I got more shit to talk about, but he's a
would
lock.
like to lock him because I want to know more of that cool shit.
I think I'd like to lock him because he's truly the only king that we have on this list that's a real king. That's kind of all. Like because we made the ground rules to encapsulate all kings, no matter where they're from, it would be
I'm
nice
sorry,
to have
Elvis
one
is also a real king, by the way.
of rock.
You know what we're talking about, Shannon.
But yeah, I think the stuff that you've brought up so far, like there's just like the fact that he's done so much that has actually impacted like our life, like what the world is now.
Yeah.
From 300 BC or whatever. Like
I just think the thing I found fascinating about him was his ideals and his stances in a time when nobody had even a semblance of those stances, like full religious and cultural tolerance for the places that he conquered. Like, yes, he did conquer these places. That's what kings do. But he viewed the people that he conquered just as worthy as the people that were part of his home. And I think that's such a noble thing. Like, he treated them with respect and dignity. And I think that's something that should be celebrated. Like, that's one of the reasons I think why we talked a little bit about Aragorn is he's and King T'Challa is he sees the best in all situations and tries to do best and right by his kingdom and his people and what he deems is right. And he made this like amazing legacy and this amazing empire that lasted, for centuries at a time when like they were just like tribes, fighting each other. I mean, that's a pretty amazing thing. So, yeah, I don't know. I believe he deserves to be a lock, honestly.
I love the reasoning, especially because it's like the best parts of what we gravitate towards these better kings that we have on this list, all fictional. And now we have a real one that actually did those things in real life. That seems worthy to celebrate for me. So I'm okay with a lock on that as well.
Cool.
Dan?
Justin, can you tell me a little bit about the strength of his atomic breath, though? I would say, yeah, I kind of want, I don't know anything about this guy other than what Justin's spoken about. Sounds really interesting. I'd have to, hear more, I feel. But I do kind of want to lock him in based off of Justin's enthusiasm and what he has shared and the fact that he's actually, was a real dude.
Cool. I'm going to lock him for now. Of course, locks are not binding, even though I say they're locks. But we'll do it now just to help us whittle this down. Elvis, lock or no lock?
To me, he's a lock.
I would agree.
I'm this close to saying yes.
Me too.
I'm this close to saying that yes.
But?
And now I'm there. Yes.
And I'm there.
Yeah, I would say lock too. Yeah.
All right.
Good job convincing, Shannon.
It's because as soon as I said I'm this close, Shannon gave me the death glare, and I'm like, I better cave.
That's how she gets me to finish too.
It works.
I did not need to hear that.
Dan's so upset.
Dan doesn't want to lock eyes with Shannon over the video call.
And Justin's pregnant already.
Yeah. Oh, we're all pregnant. Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
How many are we at?
Yeah, how many do we have locked?
3.
So we have three
locks.
locked.
Oh, we have 3 locks.
We have 3 locks.
Because I'm in on
And-
this one.
Godzilla, Jack, and Mufasa. That's who we have.
Okay.
Okay. I want to hear more. I need more of a reason to think Godzilla as he's a king of the monsters, yes, but I need to have a little bit more to lock him. But I think I'm pretty locked in on Mufasa, if that helps.
Oh, see, that's the one I think out of this list that I'm willing to let go of.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Why? I guess is it too boring? Is it too obvious? Is that why?
I think just because, for all the reasons I argued for Mufasa when he was brought up, that the movie itself centers around Simba's journey to replacing Mufasa and replacing the legacy that he held. That, I mean, yeah, I don't know. There's an entire movie about Jack Skellington, and it focuses on Jack being the Pumpkin King. That there's just such a major transformation that you see in Jack, and I definitely want to hear more about Godzilla. That I think Dan's passion and excitement around Godzilla kind of had me in it to win it, and I don't think Mufasa would carry a full movie on his own.
You wouldn't see a Mufasa movie? Aren't they making that?
Well, I'm out.
You know what though? Now that you kind of mentioned that, Shannon, would you watch a full Mufasa movie? I kind of agree that he wouldn't. And I know I said I think I would lock him, but not I'm kind of rethinking it. He's a good king. He's not that interesting though. And I know we're not necessarily going for top 5 most interesting kings, but I don't.
But they should be. They should be interesting. Right?
They should have. They should have an allure, right? Like they should kind of draw you in a little bit. And while he is a great king and a really great character, his time in the movie, he's there and he makes his impact and then he's done. And the movie, the movie characters miss him, but I don't miss him in the movie. He's
almost more symbolic.
He's symbolic, yeah, and maybe that's a reason to still kind of consider him. But I find him, still worthwhile of mention, but not interesting enough to kind of hold on to.
Don't get me wrong. I will forever cry when he dies in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
But, I don't know. He's the one I'm willing to let go of.
Yeah, that's... You know what? You make a really great point. I really thought I would fight for Mufasa harder. I think there is that presence that we keep talking about, and he's such a good king. And I feel like if we did explore and unpack Mufasa's past, it probably would be somewhat interesting because he wasn't probably like that when he was younger, Yeah. He was probably much more like Simba, and it's kind of like, how did he get to where he is now to be so mature and caring and ferocious when he needs to be?
We almost need his coming of age story, but I don't know that I want it.
I thought I saw that Disney wanted to make that, and I'm like, I don't know if I need it. but Disney will make it anyways.
Point proven.
I guess Mufasa's out. Dan?
All right. Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of starring him before because I felt, based off of the response, that it seemed like he was maybe the stronger out of my noms. So I can back away from it. I'd be much happier with Godzilla in there, or even
So would
Jack.
you be happier with Godzilla or Jack?
Both would be even better. You got 2 spots. Which one would I be happier with? I think I'd still be happier with Godzilla for some reason. I just think it's such a fun nomination. He's so big and destructive, but he's also like the guardian of the earth. The earth is his kingdom. We are his people in those stories.
So sorry, Dan. We're going off the mythology of the 2 most recent mainstream Godzilla movies, right? Okay.
Yeah, because he has also been more of the bad guy before as well. There's some older ones that are more focused on him being a bad guy. There's some where he's more of a savior. There's some that are just straight up goofy if you look into them. There's some really wacky Godzilla movies. But the most recent ones, he's kind of depicted as this guardian of the earth, and the creatures that he's fighting against are not actually of this earth. They're from another planet.
They're another dimension or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they've been
Wait,
kinda,
so do people
slumbering.
like Godzilla in the new movie? Like, are people like, oh, there he is, it's Godzilla, he's here to save us?
I
like,
think
kind of
probably
thing.
the people not in the know are probably like, oh, it's a giant thing. They don't know what it's going to do and are scared. But I think like the governments involved or the agencies involved like know that he's like a guardian, and so they try to work with him. Say more so, even more so in I think the second movie. He's like, I guess that's why I just see him as such like a cool character. He's in those movies depicted as like this guardian of the earth, just kind of slumbering. When some sort of like catastrophic event is taking place, he wakes up to protect us all. And the rest of the time, he's just like, cool, do your thing, like I'm just here to protect you guys. And he literally becomes like the king of the monsters. Like he does something that basically establishes across all the other like monsters that are also kind of hidden within the world that he is like the alpha amongst all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
Does he wear a crown?
I'm sure in probably some of the Goofy movies. Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay,
I'm like 3/4 locking him, honestly. Like I think he's a really interesting nomination, and with Dan's kind of description there and kind of going over like, yeah, he's this kind of protector of us all. His kingdom is the earth. It very, very closely solidifies the lock for me. I'm not 100% there yet, but
I'm also where you're at, Justin. I like really, really want it, and now I gotta like just really think about it a little bit more because I'm like, well, how much of a king is he? I guess like, but by definition,
is he also,
like
he's also like a soldier, right? Like, is he a king? He's a king of the monsters, but for us, he's like a soldier. But he's also the king of the monsters. He's just a king.
A king, no one challenges a king, right? Like, there's no
Or if
one's
they do, they
word
die.
that's above his. Yeah, exactly.
Right,
And
right.
so like it's the same thing with him. Like he does have people that rise to the challenge, but he still beats them. There's no one above him. Like he's the alpha in his kingdom that is the world.
right.
Okay. Now with that same passion, Jack Skellington.
Shannon, do you want to support me on this one?
Why, yes, I do. No, I think again we kind of touched on a lot of it, but the fact that Jack Skellington is a leader, everyone in the community looks up to him. They rely on him for his ideas and his passion and his excitement around the holiday. But the fact that he's also a dreamer and wants to do more for the community and bring a different holiday to their culture and I mean when he brings the idea to them, there's this town hall of, all right, look, Halloween Town, like this is what Christmas Town is all about. And he does concede to a lot of their ideas because they just don't get it. And he's like, okay, we'll make the most of it for what the people want to do. And then ultimately has to take Christmas back into his own hands. But at the same time, like he's trying to please the people with this idea of grandeur.
That's a really good point. And yeah, he goes through a lot in that movie. And that movie's short. Like Nightmare Before Christmas is like an hour. Like it's not very long at all.
It's a fast-paced movie, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but you see a lot of sides of Jack Skellington. Like even you can see his like Halloween like horror side where he's trying to be scary. But a lot of times it's just like him being very emotional about stuff. There's a love story. There's this king aspect that you're talking about. I really like this nomination of Jack Skellington. I think to be honest, I think I like it more than Godzilla.
I think I might too, honestly. Like I love also that there's the aspect of he's not an unwilling leader, but he's kind of over, at least at the beginning of the movie, about like what his role is. Like he's kind of like, I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over again, and he's kind of like this downtrodden leader who wants more for himself and wants to introduce that to his people, but his people are so set in their ways, so he tries to kind of mold what he wants for them, which again brings like a leadership aspect to it, which I find really fascinating as well.
Don't forget also that even though that he's dead, he can still take off his head to recite Shakespearean quotations.
Oh, that's
and no animal or man can scream like he can with the fury of those recitations either. Don't forget that, guys.
I'm glad you brought that point up. That's a
you know what, Dan? I will never forget it now. I did forget it, but now I won't forget it. Thank you. I think I like Jack Skellington more than Godzilla. That's where I'm at.
Agreed.
So you're saying Locke?
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about like the rest of them, Bowser, like now that we've already kind of like talked a lot about Godzilla and Jack, I don't have the same fervor I do with Bowser. Like, he is amazing. I love Bowser. It's just, you know, I don't know if he's not real. He's a Nintendo character. There's only so much layers you can go with. Like, he's like you know, happy-go-lucky characters. Even though like there's iterations of Bowser in like the Mario RPG stuff where they explore a little bit more stuff, like Paper Mario. They kind of, but at the end of the day, it's all happy and fluffy, and it's very, you know, kid friendly, I guess you could say.
Right.
And I guess on this list here, a good king should be at least interesting and nuanced, I suppose, to some degree. And I don't think Bowser has that, so I'm willing to let him go.
Okay. I'm okay with that. I agree with it. I like the nomination, but I agree. He doesn't have the layering and the complexity that some of these other nominations might have.
Not that they need to be, but it's like,
well, no.
There's only so many points I can make in Bowser's favor, because at the end of the day, I could be like, well, you know, he can breathe fire. I guess that's pretty cool.
He can beat Shannon every time.
That's right. Every single time.
Every time.
And you know, those games are made for kids, and Shannon can't beat Bowser. What does that say?
She's shitty at video games.
That's what it says. I didn't say it.
No, it's true though.
Okay, so I'm gonna lock Jack for now. I think.
Okay.
I think I'm comfortable with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we have King T'Challa, King Cyrus, Elvis Presley, and Jack as locks. And the other stars that we have are only two more left, which are Aragorn and Arthur. So those are the remaining two here. Now, these two can still make it on the list if we are willing to get rid of another one. I lean Aragorn. Like, I have more attachment to Aragorn, although I definitely see the side of the Merlin argument of there is a big ass legacy with King Arthur. Undeniable. There's something big about this character. He's never really excited me, to be honest. Like, I don't really give a shit about King Arthur. Sword in the Stone is fine, I guess, but you know, whatever.
I get it. I think I understand why people wouldn't give a shit about it. I'm not saying I necessarily really care about him. I think he's fascinating as an entity where it's like, again, I said it earlier, like, we don't know if he's real or not. He's probably not, but it's amazing that he was kind of created out of all these different stories. It is really just the Merlin argument, and maybe I'm depending too much on that, where he's so notable, and he's kind of like this, not the first king or anything like that, but he's such a staple when we think of king. Like, you type in king into Google, and it's like one of the first like 5 results that come up is King Arthur. There's a reason for that. He's so noted in history that it needed to be mentioned. But that's also kind of why I said earlier, like, I don't anticipate him making the top 5, because his really only standing, because I didn't do that much research into King Arthur, is his legacy, his Merlin-esque legacy sort of thing.
We had Dan politely raise his hand.
That was so cute, Dan.
Speaking of Googling noms, just guys, be careful when you're Googling King Koopa. Just saying, you know, make sure the safe search is on. There's some weird stuff that pops up.
Now I need to know.
Yeah, now he's gonna go look. Yeah.
I'm back in.
I'm really happy. I'm really happy you brought this up, Dan, because this is a slight bit of tangent. Tuong, you can cut this. I get it. Have you guys ever heard of the Book of Mario wiki? Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Dan may have.
No.
So the Book of Mario wiki, or the Book of Mario, it's like a modded version of Paper Mario where they introduced a shit ton of new characters, but all of them are just terrible, awful creations that are obsessed with like sex and debauchery and racism and stuff like that. Like, they're not good people in any stretch of the imagination. But if you want a good read late at night where you're just like, Mario's silly, Google the Book of Mario wiki and just go to town. It's the funniest shit you'll ever see. There's a character just called Shithead, I think, and it's the best thing ever.
Shitty head.
Shitty head.
Poopy head.
Wait, did you write for the Book of Mario?
Yeah. Tangent. My apologies, but it's worth it.
Don't. This is podcast gold. This is exactly what we brought you on for.
I'm leaning more
know.
towards Aragorn. Honestly, like that's why I nominated first. Like when we said king, it's king, or Aragorn for me comes to mind.
It's the Return of the King.
It's Return of the King. He returns.
He does. Shannon, what are you thinking here? You know, King Aragorn versus Arthur. They're both Justin's picks.
I mean,
I hate them both.
Aragorn to me just didn't like own the mantle the way a king should. He kind of just like shirked the title, the responsibility, and was like, not for me. So, guys, the not for me.
So
Whoa.
here's the thing, though. You're focusing, and this is, I mean, again, this is to my benefit and also detriment, is because I am leaning more towards on the book Aragorn, because the visual of Aragorn is like, yeah, it's Viggo Mortensen in Lord of the Rings movies. Like, it's amazing.
Oh, visually, I'm in.
Yeah, visually you're in.
Yeah.
Duh. Who wouldn't be? But the book Aragorn, he knows he is king, like, and he wants to be king. He knows the reason he doesn't, kind of become king, or the reason that he isn't king or has announced his coming is nice. Is quality content you'll get from our show. He knows it's not the right time. Like, he knows that if he were to kind of say, I'm Aragorn and I'm of the line that should be king, it's not gonna do anything because the timing isn't right. In the books, the reason that he kind of goes on the quest is because he knows that this is the start of the final bit of his journey, that if it's successful, he will be king and he'll be able to reunite like all of the kingdoms together. The entire before the book, the entire history of Aragorn, he's been fighting to regain little pockets of previous kingdoms so that they can all kind of join together in the faction when the Lord of the Rings time comes along, so that you have these massive this massive army compiled of small little pockets of people throughout Middle Earth. And that's why he's such a great king, is he's able to kind of bring up this uprising for the people who have been kind of downtrodden and who kind of need a leader. He shows up and says, he doesn't say he's the king. He doesn't say he's not the king. He just says, I will help lead you. This is our mission, and we need to do it for the good of this entire planet. And that's why he's the best. That's why he's a great king, Shannon. You dickhead. I was uncalled for.
I love hearing Justin talk about Lord of the Rings. You just have like an endless amount of pretty much useless knowledge, but it's
100%
fantastic.
useless. Oh yeah.
It's great, isn't it?
Dan, with the arguments that you heard tonight, what are you thinking here? King Aragorn versus Arthur.
It's tough between those two because Justin's probably gonna shoot like death lasers out of his eyes at me or something. But I've only seen the Lord of the Rings movies one time. I watched the extended cuts. Yeah, but I've only watched it one time, and it was like...
You're dead to me. No, not really. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. That's fine. Live your life.
So, I mean, like, Aragorn, like, I know who that character is. I know it's Viggo Mortensen. Like, instantly, like, that image of him comes to mind when I hear that name.
Great facial
But,
hair.
like, I can't really... but I can't really recall what he did in the movie, like, at all, because it was, like, I watched it, like I said, one time, and it was such a long time ago. For King Arthur, I think, to Justin, like, what he was saying, like, it's... like I imagine when we all sat down to like write our list, like the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear king is probably King Arthur. I would think for most of us. But that being said, despite the name being so popular, I can't really think of like the feats of what King Arthur did. I know the name. Like the only iterations I can really think of would be like Sword in the Stone, but he's a young kid. Like kind of in training, and then he pulls the sword out. That one, I remember King Arthur being on gargoyles. Gargoyles. That's
amazing.
Rad.
I remember the show King Arthur and the Knights of Justice. I don't know if anyone else.
Oh my
knows that
god!
one. Yeah,
I forgot about that.
But again, I can't think of the character on the show. And then A Kid in King Arthur's Court, that movie. But again, I know the title,
Solid.
but I can't even really remember the movie very well. So both like characters are interesting to me because I know they're both so famous, and I imagine King Arthur is like kind of the base for a lot of like kings and a lot of these types of like fantasy type, stories and whatnot.
It's crazy. There is, if you look up King Arthur movies, there's so freaking many. Like, I'm not gonna list them all, but there is just so many, and a lot from like this decade, or not this decade. This decade just started, but last decade, and like every single decade, there's like a new King Arthur movie, or like a couple of years later, and they're all like, I mean, 3 of them are just called King Arthur. But then there's like Arthur and Merlin. King Arthur makes an appearance in Hellboy, in Transformers: The Last Knight, one of the Michael Bay Transformers movies, somehow related to that. Sword of the Stone. There's just so much King Arthur stuff out there, which makes me think like, yeah, the legacy of King Arthur is cool, but like I love Lord of the Rings, maybe not to the extent that Justin does, but I could probably watch it at least once a year. And if I don't do it once a year, I feel bad. I'm like, I should make time to do that, because the story of Aragorn is, I think, amazing. Like, he is in the movies, he's a reluctant king, and I'm fine with it because I'm used to that. He doesn't really want it, but then he realizes that he needs to do it for the good of the world, right? And he takes it upon himself, and he does a freaking awesome. I feel like he earns it in the 3 movies leading up to it. So
yeah, I think Dan's like issue with kind of like going all in on Aragorn, which is perfectly valid, is the same kind of reason why I didn't have anything to say really about King Joffrey. Is like, I don't have any experience or whatever with it, right? Like, it's the same thing. Like, if you mentioned certain things on this list, or we've mentioned certain comic book things or anime in the past. Like, I don't watch anime. Like, neither of us watch anime, so we don't have any kind of.
You're dead to me.
Like, I know. We don't have any input on it, right? So it's a valid thing for Dan to be like, he doesn't do anything for me because I don't watch it or haven't seen it or read it. Like, that's a valid argument, really.
I think ultimately these both of these nominations have come from Justin, and I think we all know which one he's going to be able to argue better.
Is there any kings on the locked list that we can get rid of for both of them?
Who's on the lock list?
King
again?
T'Challa, King Cyrus, Elvis Presley, and Jack Skellington.
I'm personally pretty happy with that list.
Me too. Yeah.
Me too. Like, honestly, to be honest, if this was just a fictional Kings thing, like, King Cyrus wouldn't even be here. Like,
absolutely.
I wouldn't, like, I'm purely going with him based on your enthusiasm over it. I just have to do that. But like, I mean, I could also see him go, but then, our list might be less interesting. So maybe I don't want to do that.
I don't know. I like any of the other ones. I'm not gonna get rid of Cyrus from the lock, but any of the other ones, like, I think they're perfectly valid to be locked as well. Like, I wouldn't give up one to be like. I think my choice would be Aragorn over Arthur.
It feels wrong to not have King Arthur on a list of top 5 kings, but I don't have any real argument to keep him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And validity's sake, like I said, like, it's widely regarded that he wasn't real. Like, he's just an amalgamation of a bunch of stories, which
Kinda
makes
like
him
Merlin, though.
Well, yeah, that's fair, but he just makes him fiction, which is everybody else on this list except for one. I guess. So it's hard to kind of. Well, okay, yeah, Elvis, yada. Fine. It's just, it kind of makes it a little more difficult to argue for him. Like, because I feel like Merlin is even more notable than King Arthur as far as like being like the first. Like, Merlin, like, for a lot of people, for what they like read as far as fantasy, and it's not accurate, but as far as what they read, Merlin is kind of the first wizard. King Arthur is not the first king, and it's never been kind of seen that way. And I think, and that's where the legacy or whatnot kind of changes for me. I know I nominated him. I should be fighting for him, but I don't know.
I know we didn't do this with Merlin, but I mean, I think with this list, we've all, like, these are all like kind of specific examples. Like, even with mine with Godzilla, I know there's, like I said, there's billion Godzilla movies, but I was like trying to just choose the one specific one. I think with King Arthur, I think why that's a tougher one is we haven't really specified like from which movie or which story or whatnot, so it's hard to kind of get behind it when it's kind of a little bit too vague. I feel.
I just feel like
I think for that reason I would
has a lot of
vote
movies.
Aragorn over Arthur.
Yeah, and he has a lot of movies, and none of them I really care for, I guess, or want to watch. Like, I don't know. Like, I get why he's popular. I love the idea of like a sword in the stone type of situation. It's kind of like Thor's hammer. You got to be worthy to like pull it out, and you got this badass fucking sword that can cut people down, whatever. But I don't know. It's Aragorn's cooler.
And for whatever reason, there's no like luster to King Arthur. It's just like, it's neat, but there's no like a fascination that on the same level as some of these other ones. So I don't know. I'm saying get rid of Arthur and go with Aragorn personally.
Fuck him,
All
cut
right.
him.
Yeah, if you close your eyes and like imagine King Arthur, I don't have an image that pops up in my head.
I imagine Graham Chapman with the coconuts.
There you go. That's
what I imagine.
That's the right answer. Ooh, okay. That was a good discussion, though. I think that was worthy of talking about, because some people will be like, King Arthur, where's my real king? Sorry, guys. We're keeping that sword in that stone because we have a list of 5. We have, ready? King T'Challa, King Aragorn, King Cyrus II, Elvis Presley, the King of Rock, and Jack Skellington. Elvis just makes me laugh. I don't know why.
I love it.
All right, we got to rank these bad boys. Put them in order, 5 to 1.
Let's put good old Cyrus at number 5.
Yeah, I agree.
He made the list. I'm happy he's here.
Wow.
But there's cooler kings.
You know what?
I like that he's on the list, but I don't need to see him higher either.
No, that's fair. He's a fascinating character. He's a fascinating person.
Where did you learn about him? Was it on a podcast?
No.
Oh. I was ready for a shout out, but
no. So I follow like these stupid, and most of the time it's bullshit. Like the facts and weird history pages on like Twitter and Instagram, and periodically they just show up with a thing, and one of them was like King Cyrus did this, and I'm like, that sounds like a bunch of bullshit. And I looked it up, and it turns out it wasn't bullshit, and that's what kind of like drew me in a little bit, and being like, this is a really fascinating person from history. I'm really glad he's on the list. I think it's worthwhile because one, at least, all 4 of us didn't know who he was. And you could probably ask anybody that and they're not going to know who King Cyrus II is, but he's worthy of mention in history. He has still an influence on a lot of people. I don't think he needs to be higher than 5 though.
I'm glad one real king made the list.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4. What do we have?
For me, it's got to be Elvis.
Now, the people at home cannot see Shannon's eyes. The people at home can't see Shannon's eyes. So, Shannon, I'd like you to describe your eyes right now to Justin.
I didn't see them.
Right answer.
Why should he be higher if you're not happy with number 4?
I just think that the king of rock and roll, a genre that defines generations, deserves to be a little bit higher than number 4.
Who would you put at number 4 then?
Oh, okay. Well, wait, what were my options?
Jack Skellington, Aragorn, T'Challa.
Aragorn.
You're out of your fucking mind.
Fine. You know what?
This is what I love about this podcast and getting you both together on it. It's always some bickering, which I just love to see. I feed on it.
Yeah, because we get along in all other aspects of our life.
That's true.
Dan, thoughts? Number 4
on Elvis,
or just number 4 in general. You can give me your thoughts on Elvis. Would you like to be him one day? Could you do any of his moves? What are you thinking here?
I would love to see you try to do the
try.
hound dog. Yeah, do the hound dog.
No.
Hey, listen, this is a true story. When I took a bus to San Francisco, and it was like I forget. It was a long trip. We were just like, let's take the bus from Ottawa, Ontario to San Francisco. And it was a long ass trip. It was like 3 days or something like that. We thought it'd be an adventure. It was. You meet some weird people on the Greyhound buses, let me tell you what.
Especially on their way to San Francisco.
Really weird people, and like it was a whole thing. Lots of sleeping, lots of listening to music, lots of staring out a window, and just a bunch of characters were on the bus and leaving and coming out, and one of them stuck for a long, long time. And it was a guy dressed as Elvis, and he was an Elvis impersonator. Never took off the costume, never took off his sunglasses. Anytime you talked to him, he was in character, and he just said that he's going to New York, or that was his grand plan. He wanted to
He's
get
going
to
the wrong way then.
I know, yeah, wait, not New York. He wanted. Wasn't San Francisco was not his last stop. Las Vegas. He went to Las Vegas, and he was saying that there's not enough Elvis impersonators in Las Vegas, and that's where the money is.
I assure you, there are plenty of Elvis impersonators in Vegas.
It was the best and weirdest thing. Like I said, never broke character. Even when the bus broke down and we had to like talk to people, like kind of got forced to talk to the people. It was like, hey, where are you going? Whatever. Elvis guy just convinced he was Elvis until every now and then he would just keep talking about how there's money in Las Vegas and he's going to make it big as an Elvis.
Amazing. Do you know what?
awesome.
Just a weird little
hilarious.
tidbit. But locally, Collingwood, Ontario hosts the world's largest Elvis convention.
Really?
Did you guys know this?
Weird.
It's an annual thing, and
No.
like
Let's go.
Elvis's take over, and it's just such a fascinating thing. But just on the note of Elvis, that it's just so fascinating to me that a dude from like the 1950s who like kind of like swooned a nation is still a household name. You don't have to say Elvis Presley. You don't have to explain to 16-year-olds who he was. Everyone just knows Elvis. And I think that's kind of a fascinating, like, cultural piece. I don't know.
I see. Yeah, that's true. And his music still lives on today. People keep covering it. It's
Totally.
Yeah, people still love it.
good.
Yeah.
Jack at number 4?
I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree. Yeah.
Okay. I was just trying something and it failed. I would like to see Aragorn a little higher, but I also feel like I might be pushing up against a wall too. I don't know.
I would too, but I think we're
you know
both
what?
pushing up against the same wall. Honestly.
Elvis at number 4 is fine by me. I mean, it's fine.
Well, Dan, where do you fall on this too? Like, I don't.
Oh, like I love Elvis. Elvis is great. A great nomination for sure. I actually saw an Elvis impersonator at Center in the Square doing a whole like Christmas special thing. Like this is like 15 years ago or so.
It's probably that guy.
Yeah. It was
That's
headed to
fantastic.
Vegas that year.
It's crazy.
Yeah, actually, when we were jumping into like the numbering, I was like immediately I was thinking in my mind I was like, okay, so I was hoping for King Cyrus is 5, and then I was thinking probably it would be Elvis at 4. So I'd be okay with him at 4.
Okay. All right. Elvis at 4.
Okay, cool.
So we got rid of the real people.
Yeah, fuck the real people. I wanted this to be fictional kings to begin with. All right. So now that we got those living things out of the way, or I guess they're both dead. Well, Elvis lives in our hearts, so it doesn't matter. What do we have? So we Aragorn and T'Challa and Skellington.
Can I just say that I love Skellington is like here. I don't like. I just
me
like.
too.
I don't have a preference of what number he is really. I love that he's here. It's so
Okay.
lovely.
I think Aragorn has to be 3
You think Aragorn has to be 3?
because of the amount of convincing it took just to get on the list.
Fair point. Yeah, fair point.
To me, he's probably a little higher, but I mean, it was
to me he's higher, but
Yeah.
I can understand the argument, and I can see why people who haven't watched or read the books or don't have the same kind of enjoyment out of them.
So I have an argument for Aragorn over Jack Skellington, and I'm going against all of my own desires. But
okay.
Aragorn ultimately, as you say, his intentions with the quest were to eventually take up the mantle when it was the right time to be king.
Right. Correct.
Jack Skellington throughout the Nightmare Before Christmas struggles with being the king. He is the king and he struggles with that. He has a bit of an identity crisis, and he kind of keeps going back and forth, like, why do they look up to me? Why am I this person? And I think the self-doubt versus the journey to take the crown at the right time kind of bodes well for Aragorn.
Isn't self-doubt a good quality? Like every king should kind of be like a little like second guess themselves and question themselves to
I don't
know
disagree.
that they're making the right decisions.
I mean, Godzilla doesn't.
I know.
Jack's self-doubt though it does have negative side effects. You know, his self-doubt brings about the potential ruining of Christmas. Ultimately, it is saved. But thank heavens. Yeah, we're spoiling
Imagine
so many.
Year where Christmas was ruined.
Oh my god!
I don't want to imagine it.
Oh, god damn it!
Shit just got real.
but like his self-doubt and his worry about what his legacy is, you know, it comes close to ruining Christmas and also comes close to ruining Halloween Town thus ruining Halloween because he wants to be something that he's not. He wants his land to be something that it's not. And though perfectly valid argument that a king should have some self-doubt and seek guidance, he doesn't seek guidance. He kind of does it on his own, and his self-doubt potentially could fuck everything up.
I'm torn. And I'm also having the T'Challa battle in my head too, because like part of me is like, I want him to be number one. Another part of me is like, where is that line? Am I putting him at number one because I don't want to do it because it's the hot button thing that happened this year. You know, like if this was any other year, would I feel the same about it?
That's the thing. If we did top 5 kings last year, would T'Challa be, frankly, even in the top 5? Maybe, probably.
I would say probably.
But would he be in contention for number 1? And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. I'm just saying, like, are we still kind of being messed with a little bit?
I just wonder, like, does the death of Chadwick Boseman, just by that nature, did it enhance this nomination? Like, we all, like, grew even more fond of T'Challa as a character because of that event. Like,
Dan's raising his hand again.
Dan, why are you so polite today? What happened?
I'm gonna say this. So if the Lord of the Rings movies didn't happen, if it was just the book, would Aragorn be as high up in this list as well, right?
That's a valid point, yeah.
T'Challa has been around for a long time as well in comics and then, you know, in the shows and stuff too. But I think the reason he's on our list this year is not because of the death of Chadwick Boseman. It's because of what he brought to the table as that character, putting him into everyone's consciousness as this, like, living, breathing person,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah.
I think that's why he's on the list now. It's not because of his death. I think it's because of how successful those movies were and how great a job he did.
I should clarify. I don't think he's on here because of the death. I just think the death definitely puts it to the forefront of everyone's mind more. And I guess I just want to be mindful of that too.
That's a really valid argument, though, Dan. Like, I can't expand upon it earlier. It's just a good argument.
But yeah, like, Aragorn became a popularized king because of the movies, and obviously T'Challa is the same way. Like, I never read the comics, but fell in love with the character on screen. I mean, without the movies, I wouldn't know either of those kings.
So where does that bring us? I feel like that kind of circles back to, I think all 3 of these are great. And honestly, I can see them all in, like, I can see them all being 3, 2, or 1. It doesn't really matter.
To me, and for the reasons of the self-doubt thing, Jack Skellington is number 3, and then 2 and 1 we'll whatever argue about. But for me, Jack Skellington is number 3 then. Purely based off of the kind of arguments that we just had for why T'Challa should be here, why Aragorn is here, and why maybe Skellington isn't the greatest king.
I would personally put Jack at 3.
Okay.
I'm kind of in the same boat.
All right.
I friggin' love that nomination.
I
though.
do like it a lot. Every time I think about it,
so
I just want to.
He's such a fun character. I think that in some ways he's actually kind of similar. Well, in one way he's similar to King T'Challa in the sense that they're both kind of like struggling kings. Because here's T'Challa struggling to be a good man, as you quoted before. Hard for a good man to be a good king. And here's Jack kind of filled with some self-doubt because he's been at the top of his game for so many years and he's just kind of tired, so they're both kind of struggling. So it's nice to have like these two kind of struggling kings in the top 5 there, but struggling for different reasons. But then it's cool to have Aragorn. I would put him in as 2, as Justin said, like a reluctant king, So I think it's good to have some kind of differences kind of staggered between them in the list there.
Okay.
My rating would be Skellington at 3, Aragorn at 2, and then T'Challa at 1. Because I think T'Challa does, and look, I obviously love Aragorn, but I think T'Challa, especially for a lot of right now, his cultural significance does matter, and it matters because it's to a wider range of people, and I think overall he reflects more of what you would want as a king who is forefront, who is vocal. Aragorn is very much kind of like a silent ruler. He's a great ruler, but he's very silent and calm and not like kind of in your face. And T'Challa is in a good way. So that would be my personal rating. I know that doesn't bear anything, but that would be my personal rating.
I think that makes sense. I mean, I still hesitate doing T'Challa number 1 only because of those reasons. I feel weird about it, but I think we can't, I guess, like the significance of T'Challa definitely came to the forefront in 2020. And there's no doubt that this character means a lot to a lot of people. And because of the events that happened, we know that even more so, that like people loved this character. It was the first Black superhero that everybody can get on board with, and it was a cultural event to the movie, and then the character, and everybody wanted to see what else this character would do on screen. Unfortunately, we won't get that, but we still have all these great comics and material that you can still read through, which is awesome. There's some amazing Black Panther comics out there, by the way. You should definitely check them out. And I think at the end of the day, like, not only is King T'Challa, there's a huge impact, I guess is what I'm trying to say, throughout the world. And I think he goes beyond fiction in a big way, beyond fandom. He is now a respected among many people. Whether
he's culturally
he's an icon.
significant.
Yeah. He rose to king icon. Like, I don't know.
He's seen as I think the character himself, regardless of Chadwick Boseman, Billy, he definitely helped with this. He's seen as a king that we, like, in normal life can strive to, right? Because and that's in many ways due to Chadwick Boseman and Marvel and everybody obviously involved in that project of bringing that to light for everybody to see and witness and experience, and being like, this is a character. Like, why didn't I know about this character? Like, I should know and read about this and be appreciative of this. I think that's such an amazing thing, and the character itself is the reason for that. He's much more culturally significant while also displaying all of those other characteristics of what we would want a king to be.
Yeah. And he's fucking badass too.
And he's fucking badass.
He threw himself over a grenade. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Pretty freaking cool. You know what? Let's fucking do it. We're locking this list. At number 5, we have King Cyrus II. Number 4, we have Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll. That's not his voice. And let's try again. I don't got it. One more time.
Yeah, one more time.
Nope. Oh, okay.
You got it.
Hey, what's that love song? How does that go?
You ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Yeah, that's the love song that I'm going for. Jack Skellington at number 3. Aragorn at number 2. I love saying it like that. And number 1, the king of the monsters, Black Panther
Oh,
can actually probably withstand quite a bit of a bomb because of that suit. Maybe not
That's
an
true.
atomic
yeah,
bomb.
the suit. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
but
yeah.
and if it's absorbed, it just reverberates back to you. That would really fucking hurt. So, okay, wow, Jesus, that good discussion today. I think
Yeah, that was good.
really, really
Oh, yeah.
in depth, and it's a really meaty topic. So I'm glad I was able to do this with the rest of you kings and queens out there. Now, before we wrap up, of course, we got to do honorable mentions. So how about I get Dan? Dan, read your entire honorable mentions list right now.
Just in one straight shot.
One straight shot. Go for it.
Sweet. Okay. Well, yeah, a lot of mine were actually like I had other like contenders, but they got named, which was great. But yeah, so some of my other honorable and dishonorable mentions. So honorable, I've got King of the Red Lions, which is the king from Wind Waker,
Ooh.
Zelda, right?
Like that.
I've also got, let's see here. This is another video game reference to my Dark Souls fans out there. From Dark Souls 2, we got King Vendrick. He's like this kind of like tall, kind of like emaciated zombie-like king who wanders around in this dark room dragging this humongous sword. And it's a battle with patience for sure, that fight. And then I got my
Sounds
dishonorable... Fun. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's fun. We got my dishonorable mention here. Also video game related. King Hippo from Punch-Out. Anyone remember King Hippo? You gotta punch him in the belly, and then he drops his pants. It's awesome.
Why is that dishonorable? I think these are awesome.
I don't know. I just don't.
It's because he drops his pants and it
He's
makes him
lewd.
embarrassed.
He's lewd. He's dropping his drawers. That's why.
Shannon, do you want to say your entire list? Whatever. else you got.
Like Dan, most of mine had actually been mentioned, so my list is quite short. I've got a couple of gods here for you, though. Odin and Zeus, which I wanted to mention them. They're not technically kings, but in the realm of kings as gods, and I think they both deserve mention.
Yeah.
Alexander the Great as another real life mention, and just for my Dutch heritage out there, King Mints. They're very popular in Holland and they're delicious.
Fantastic. Justin.
I've got a fairly extensive list here, but I'll screen through it. We got King Bluetooth, ruler of Denmark, quite a while ago, that Bluetooth is named after.
Oh, really?
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
King Henry.
Like, actually, the symbol for like the Bluetooth symbol is like a Viking rune.
His runic symbol.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't know
What?
that.
Shut up.
Man, you should have brought that
That's
up.
amazing.
Jesus Christ,
It's super.
Justin.
Oh man, you guys
my
didn't know
God.
this.
This show is entertaining
No.
and informative, so there you go.
Yeah, it was a real life dude, and
That's crazy.
okay, now I'm actually sad you didn't bring that up.
I had nothing else to go off of, just this neat thing.
That would have been
so.
number one.
King Henry VIII, because of all of his wives that he tried to kill and did. King Louis from the Jungle Book.
Oh yeah, that's a
that'd be
great
good, yeah.
one.
King Lear, Shakespearean play.
Yep.
King Theoden from Lord of the Rings as well. Obviously, I got to put that one in there.
Theoden King.
Hammurabi, King Hammurabi. He was he's best known for his famous legal decrees. Like the first law that was ever written was written by King Hammurabi.
Boring.
Fuck you. Anyway,
Educational and boring.
and boring. King Thorin Oakenshield from The Hobbit, and then just a few fun ones. Kings of Leon.
Nice.
King.
Oh, Dan likes that one. Dan likes that one.
King's Cup, which I've played with Dan a few times.
Oh yeah.
Damn, I was going to say
Oh,
that
yeah.
one. Yeah.
King Kong. Come on.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
How did he not get nominated? That's great.
I
And,
Godzilla did.
considered it.
As soon as you said
consider
Godzilla,
it
King of the Monsters,
Godzilla.
Dan, I thought your next one was going to be King Kong. I really did. And then finally, the Burger King.
Ah, damn it. You took all my good ones. Stupid people think alike, I guess. All right. I have a bunch of ones too. All my fun ones are gone, but I'll just rapid fire this. King Shark.
Ooh, yeah.
From DC.
Oh yeah.
King Ben Kingsley. I thought
I don't know if that counts.
Kings of the Name. Kings of the Name. Aslan, Narnia. King Julian, Madagascar. We have King K. Rool from Donkey Kong. The Lich King from Warcraft. King of all Cosmos. That's from Katamari Damacy. Ganon is also the king of the Gerudos.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, true, yeah.
King Leonidas. This is Sparta. King George, specifically from Hamilton. That version of King George, the musical. Babar the elephant, also a king. Hades is the king of the underworld, so I'll take that.
That's a good one.
My dishonorable mention was the King's Cup, but also I have the chess piece, the King, which my least favorite chess piece.
Oh,
very
worthless
stressful. Very stressful the entire time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't play chess that very often. I don't think it's a great piece.
It's a bad piece. Can't do shit.
He's only there as a target.
Yeah.
That's right. It's
Yeah.
very stressful. And my last one is a dishonorable mention, is the King of Queens, which that show is bad.
I agree with that. That's good.
All right. Wow. What a long podcast. But you know what? It's worth it. It's worth it because it's worth having this wonderful crew together. One time we should get another beer-like episode and just start drinking again. Remember when we did that?
Yes.
And that was a bad decision?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
Dan got-
all
a great
all
got
decision.
Yeah, I'm all about bad decisions. We'll get a babysitter for the night. We are all in.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. But tonight we wanted to be regal and proper. And we couldn't have done it without Justin Godelie, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Justin and Shannon, thank you, Shannon, of course, for being on the podcast.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now, I like to put you both together because you usually have the same plugs. So
Pretty much, yeah.
go for it.
Well, we co-host a podcast called Pull the Plug Podcast. And it's a show where we feature acoustic music and we talk about pop culture stuff and make fun of people and make a lot of like dick jokes and and butt stuff jokes. Speaking of plugs, anal plugs, all that kind of stuff. Shannon's wearing one right now.
It's
Oh, no.
lovely.
Yeah, that's why she's so excited. That's the kind of quality content you'll get on Pull the Plug Podcast.
And you can find us at ptbpodcast.com. And yeah, we're actually kind of back recording semi-regularly again, which is really exciting for us.
We went on a bit of a hiatus for 3 reasons, really. One, baby. Takes a lot of your time. 2, we moved into a new house, which we're in, and we're kind of settled. It's all good. Woo. And 3, pandemic. That makes it difficult as well. But we're back. We just released our Christmas episode last week on Christmas Eve. Please check that out again, ptppodcast.com. And we're going to be recording more in 2021, so look out for us.
I would also
whatever.
I would also like to give a shout out that Justin G is now sort of semi-regularly recording with another podcast, which is a little bit sacrilegious, but super excited for him that 4 turntables,
This is great.
4 turntables and a microphone.
Hey, there it is.
And yeah, you should check that show out because it's a ton of fun and it's everything that Pull the Plug was meant to be, talking about music, and then we just got onto dick jokes and never turned back. So I'm super excited to have Justin G talking music, and it's really fun, so definitely check out that show.
Justin,
Thank you for that. I
not
appreciate that.
on this podcast as a regular country. My
Just
brain
ask,
is
man.
breaking.
Just ask, man.
Literally anybody who asks him, he says yes.
Yeah.
So
Fucking do it.
Well,
that's
you know
why
what?
he's doing like 12
I'm like a
different shows.
podcasting whore. Like,
Justin,
it's awesome.
I don't need you because I have the best thing. Dan Foerster.
That's
You're
right.
this-
Hey there.
you're- I guess it hurts me to say that as my arch nemesis, but you're let me swallow my pride. You're the next best thing. So here we go. Yes.
You can find me online on Twitter as at Lewis Tully, where you'll mostly see me reposting contests from Funko Pop.
Are you still doing that?
Regularly. I haven't won anything.
You've never won. Never once won.
Never.
One of these
Never.
days. Wait, so if you just
One of
retweet
these
it,
days.
retweet, tag like 5 friends, follow a bunch of people, then maybe you win one Funko Pop.
I know the one I'll win will be like a King Aragorn Funko Pop.
Fuck yeah, it will be.
Justin,
At least
did
you know
raise
a
your
guy.
hand?
I did. So I'm putting it out there now in the hopes that it's going to happen within the first 2 months of 2021. Tongue, listen up. Shannon, be ready. And
Ready.
Dan, I don't know, live your life.
Yeah, Dan, hold your pants up. Don't be
hold your
like
pants
the
up.
King Hippo.
Cinema Saves the World will be returning in 2021. We're gonna be, look, 2020. That was tough. It's been said to death, but it can't be said enough. It was kind of shitty. And we want to bring some positivity. So we're gonna be bringing Cinema Saves the World back early 2021. Look out for it at the PodCavern.
You know, Justin, we didn't premeditate this, but you're in my brain, man. And I just want to say that, like, I completely agree. We wanted to record or do another Cinema Saves the World, like 2 last year. We did 1.
Yeah.
We wanted to do 2, but moving. We both. Not to flex, but we both bought houses with our Cinema Saves the World money, which was supposed to go to charity. No, it did go to charity, I swear. And no, I agree. Like, when we first did Cinema Saves the World last year, we did it at the start of the pandemic. We're like, this is the thing that we want to raise money for. Little did we know, it just kept going. So I can't wait to do it again when things are, a little bit safer. We can quarantine, whatever, and just fucking marathon a shit ton of movies. I have a lot of ideas, Justin.
Oh,
a lot
yeah,
of
you do.
ideas. I'm sure Laura would love to produce it, which is just draw those stick figures that she usually does. All right. I think that's it, though, right?
I think that's it. Yeah.
All right,
That's
so
it.
you can find the rest
Yeah,
of
I
the
think
shows
so.
for me in the PodCavern at www.podcavern.com. So many different shows in there. Check it all out. More to come, probably, but at least you'll get another Cinema Saves the World real soon. So with that, let's get out of here. Let's go talk to our people and our peasants. And what else do kings do?
Behead people.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, we're gonna behead people. So let's go do that. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Mwah, mwah, mwah.